Chapter 78. Jiang Huiqing would never have thought that their first meeting after knowing their identities would take place under such circumstances. He thought that their interactions in the past would come to an abrupt end after knowing their true identities. In the future, when they met, Shang Junlin would be the high and mighty emperor, while Xinyu would be the noble emperor in the harem. He would be a conscientious subject, just like every other official in Dahuan. Who would have thought that after he made such preparations, the two would suddenly appear in front of the small courtyard where he and Qingyu lived to avoid the matchmaker. For a moment, Jiang Huiqing didn't know what expression to make. The shock and fright in his heart had reached an extreme point. He stared blankly at the two people walking in, his mind blank. Qingyu heard the sound of people talking outside stopping halfway. He was worried that something had happened, so he quickly put down what he was doing and walked out. At a glance he saw Shang Junlin and Xinyu walking towards him. Qinyu's footsteps paused. He knew why Jiang Huiqing suddenly lost his voice. He looked towards Jiang Huiqing's direction. Sure enough, he was standing there in a daze, looking straight at the two people who were approaching him. He didn't react at all. Xinyu also saw Jiang Huiqing's reaction. He was happy in his heart. In his previous life, this subordinate of his was young but mature. He had layers of secrets in his heart. Although he acted calmly, he always lacked vitality. If it wasn't for the fact that he had to do something in his heart, Xinyu felt that he could leave this world at any time. In this life, Jiang Huiqing was different. He had like-minded friends. Xinyu didn't know if Jiang Huiqing had met Qingyu in his previous life. In this life, they knew each other and met each other. Qingyu had always been protecting him, whether intentionally or unintentionally. In addition, the imperial examinations had been smoothly completed, and he had obtained a good ranking. Now Jiang Huiqing could be said to be full of vitality, in high spirits, and also had some of the exuberance that a young man should have. Amused by Jiang Huiqing's expression, Xinyu laughed and said, "What's wrong? Are you so surprised to see us visit you? Can't you even speak properly? How is this a surprise?" It was more like a shock. Because of Xinyu's words, Jiang Huiqing came back to his senses. At this moment Qingyu walked over and said, "You two have come from afar. I apologize for not going out to meet you. It's our fault for not taking care of you. It was on a whim. We heard that you've moved to a new place, so we came to congratulate you." Eunuch Meng, who was also dressed in casual clothes, came forward with a congratulatory gift. "It's just a small token of appreciation. Brother He and Huiqing, please accept it," Xinyu said. "Your presence brings light to my humble abode." Qingyu took the things from Eunuch Meng's hands and turned to the side. "Please come in." Yes, come in quickly." Jiang Huiqing's brain finally returned to normal. Xinyu and Shang Junlin walked in front, looking at the small courtyard as they walked. The small courtyard was secluded. Although it didn't occupy a large area, the decorations were very exquisite. There weren't many expensive decorations, but everything was elegant, showing the background of an aristocratic family. "Huiqing seems to be surprised that we've come." The four of them sat down and Xinyu spoke first. "I won't hide it from Guijun. Outside, you can call me an Alin as usual." Xinyu interrupted Jiang Huiqing and looked at Shang Junlin. "Isn't that right, Alin?" Shang Junlin nodded. "There's no need to stand on ceremony outside." Jiang Huiqing wasn't an old-fashioned person. He changed the way he addressed them. "I won't hide it from Brother Yu. I really didn't expect to see you here." "I guess so. Alin and I were just about to leave the palace, so we came to see you on the way." Xinyu blinked. "We also wanted to try the delicacies that you praised so much." What Xinyu said was what Jiang Huiqing mentioned in the letter. Their chef came from Jiangnan and was good at cooking. It was different from the taste of the capital, especially the desserts. Jiang Huiqing remembered that Xinyu liked sweet things, so he specifically mentioned it in the letter. "We came out to taste it ourselves, so you don't have to think of a way to send it to the palace," Xinyu added. Jiang Huiqing said at the end of the letter that if Xinyu wanted to taste it, he could ask the chef in the residence to make more and send it to him. "To be honest, when I wrote the letter, I didn't think it through. I only realized that it was inappropriate after I sent the letter. Some time ago, writing letters had become a habit. When Jiang Huiqing wrote this letter, he subconsciously forgot about Xin Yu and Shang Junlin's current status, so his tone was as casual as usual. I'm very happy that you can use your usual tone to write to me. In the past, I was trapped in the Marquis Fu and I didn't have many friends. Huiqing, in the future, you can get along with me like before. I'm grateful that the two of you don't mind. Huiqing boldly agrees. Other than Brother Qingyu, I'm only familiar with Brother Lin and Brother Yu. To be more accurate, he was more familiar with Shen Yu. Jiang Huiqing's animal instincts told him from the beginning that Shang Junlin was not to be trifled with. So he never blindly tried to get close to Shang Junlin. In these days of getting along, he deeply realized that Shang Junlin's good temper and gentleness were only for Shen Yu. A portion of the servants in the Fu were old people who had served He Qingyu and Jiangnan. Seeing that their master finally had a friend come to visit, and that he had come for the Fu's Jiangnan dishes, they immediately ordered the kitchen to prepare well so that the guests would be satisfied. Shen Yu and Shang Junlin were not in a hurry to return to the palace. Seeing that Shen Yu was really curious about the dishes in He Qingyu's Fu, Shang Junlin took the initiative to stay for dinner. He secretly planned to send a few imperial chefs who knew how to cook different dishes to Yuzhong Palace after returning to the palace. The small banquet was very enjoyable. Under Shen Yu's intention, the two sides quickly returned to the previous atmosphere. The chefs in He Qingyu's Fu were indeed as Jiang Huiqing said. They were good at cooking, especially the various kinds of desserts. They were small and exquisite, sweet but not greasy, and had excellent taste. Shen Yu liked them very much. Almost half of the desserts on the table went into Shen Yu's stomach. If it wasn't for Shang Junlin watching, he could eat even more. As expected, the result of indulging was that Shen Yu ate until he was full. After returning to Yuzhong Palace, Shen Yu was still not feeling well. Shang Junlin supported him to take a walk in the courtyard. As they walked, he said, I shouldn't have been soft-hearted and let you eat so much. Several times along the way, Shang Junlin was defeated by Shen Yu's slightly pleading eyes. When he saw Shen Yu eating happily and contentedly, he was soft-hearted. The result of indulging was that Shen Yu felt so uncomfortable that he couldn't fall asleep in the middle of the night. The moon was in the middle of the sky, and moonlight shone on the earth. Everything in sight was covered with a layer of cold silver. In the quiet night, there were occasional sounds of insects. After entering the palace, Shen Yu's life was extremely regular. He rarely saw the scenery of Yuzhong Palace so late at night. He looked at the full moon hanging high in the night sky and sighed. If it weren't for my perseverance, I wouldn't be able to see such a beautiful scenery with Your Majesty. Your Majesty, look at how round the moon is tonight. It was like a jade plate hanging in the darkness, emitting a faint silver glow, illuminating the entire night. You is always right. Shang Junlin held Shen Yu's hand and slowly walked on the path. A gentle breeze blew over, bringing with it waves of coolness. The two of them would occasionally whisper a few words, enjoying a rare moment of tranquility. The next day, Shang Junlin summoned Imperial Physician Gu to take Shen Yu's pulse. After a period of recuperation, Shen Yu's body had greatly improved. Imperial Physician Gu took Shen Yu's pulse once every 2 days, but gradually reduced it to once every 7 days. Those bitter medicines were also eliminated. After Imperial Physician Gu took Shen Yu's pulse, he took back his hand and said, Your Majesty has some indigestion. This subject will prescribe a prescription. After 2 doses of medicine, there won't be any major problems. Shen Yu never thought that one day he would take medicine for this reason. He lowered his hands and pulled down his sleeves, asking, The medicine this time won't be the same as last time, right? Shen Yu was really afraid of the medicine prescribed by Imperial Physician Gu last time. He didn't want to taste that indescribable taste again. Imperial Physician Gu's eyes faintly contained a smile, saying, Your Majesty, rest assured. It won't be that bad. After taking Shen Yu's pulse, Imperial Physician Gu didn't stay any longer. After giving some instructions, he got up and left. Mushi took the medicine to decoct. She was always in charge of the medicine that Shen Yu needed to take. She didn't ask anyone else to do it. Shen Yu wrote down some information about the use of cement based on his memories from his previous life. He planned to organize it, and let Shang Junlin bring it to the Ministry of Works. What is you writing? After the morning court, Shang Junlin directly went to Yuzhang Palace. Now, other than the imperial study and the main hall where morning court was held, Shang Junlin spent most of his time in Yuzhang Palace. In the beginning, the people in the palace were surprised by how much Xinyu was favored. Now they felt that it wasn't strange for His Majesty to do anything for His Majesty. I plan to organize these for the Ministry of Works and see if they can make more things. Xinyu spread out the written content in front of Shang Junlin. Shang Junlin finished reading and pondered. This cement is more useful than I thought. Your Majesty, come over and let me lean on you. After organizing the content, Xinyu didn't want to move when Shang Junlin came back. Shang Junlin sat down as he wished, and Xinyu immediately leaned over. Shang Junlin hugged him and slowly said, "A Yu's gift this time is more useful than I thought. How should I repay you?" "Xinyu, I just proposed some ideas. The Ministry of Works is responsible for the implementation. Instead of repaying me, why don't Your Majesty make things more convenient for the Ministry of Works?" Shang Junlin, what ideas does you have? Xinyu, I'm just thinking about what the Minister of Works said last time. The Ministry of Works is different from other places. It needs people who know all kinds of skills. Your Majesty, why don't you set up a special exam to select talents for the Ministry of Works? If a country wanted to develop and grow, it needed to develop in all aspects, especially in the area of innovation. This was the principle that Xinyu understood from that book. This method can be considered. The Ministry of Works is indeed understaffed. I will summon the ministers to discuss this later. Shang Junlin raised his hand and pinched Xinyu's face. What about you? You doesn't want anything? Your Majesty has already given me a lot. I just proposed some ideas. Whether they will be beneficial to Dahuan in the end will depend on the future. If Your Majesty really wants to give me something, just treat it as you owe me a request. It won't be too late for Your Majesty to agree to my request when it is proven that these ideas are beneficial to Dahuan. Okay. As they spoke, Mushi brought over the decocted medicine. Xinyu frowned when he saw the pitch-black medicine. Shang Junlin took the medicine from Mushi's hands with amusement. You can leave first. Mushi bowed her head and left. Shang Junlin approached with the medicine. Xinyu immediately retreated. He couldn't be blamed. Looking at Shang Junlin's posture, he thought of the strange medicine from before. He didn't know what kind of mood Shang Junlin had when he fed it to him. Why are you hiding? Shang Junlin's smile disappeared. He blocked his back with one hand, preventing him from continuing to retreat. Didn't Imperial Physician Gu say that this medicine is not as bad as the previous one? Chapter 79. It turns out that Imperial Physician Gu also knows that his medicine tastes bad. Unable to retreat, Xinyu could only let Shang Junlin come closer. Once you recover, you won't need to drink these medicines anymore. Xinyu had to drink all kinds of medicine every day. Shang Junlin was also very distressed. If not, he would not allow Xinyu to eat sweets. Your Majesty, you can only coax me with these words. He knew his own body. If it could not be cured, he would have to drink all kinds of medicine for the rest of his life. I will find someone to cure you. If no one in Dahuan can do it, I will go to other countries to find someone. The world is so big. I don't believe that I can't find a way to cure you. These words were not just empty words. Shang Junlin had already sent people to look for famous doctors. He did not tell Xinyu. He just wanted to tell him after he was sure of the matter. He did not want to be happy for nothing. If you put a person in your heart, you will involuntarily pay attention to everything about that person. Xinyu's illness had almost become Shang Junlin's sore point. He asked Imperial Physician Gu for details. Imperial Physician Gu said that if it could not be cured, he could not guarantee that Xinyu's life would not be in danger. Since ancient times, it was very difficult for people with insufficient health to die of old age. Even if he was the emperor, he could not reverse life and death. Shang Junlin could not accept this fact. He sent a large number of people to look for famous doctors. As long as Xinyu could be cured, he was willing to pay any price. All of this was done behind Xinyu's back. Xinyu reached out and touched Shang Junlin's forehead, smoothing out the wrinkles between his eyebrows. Your Majesty, don't worry. I will take good care of myself. This illness has been with me for so many years. To be honest, I have already gotten used to it. If I really get better one day, I might not be able to adapt. Don't frown. I will obediently drink the medicine. Xinyu leaned closer to Shang Junlin and drank the medicine in the bowl in one gulp. He showed the empty bowl to Shang Junlin and said, "I finished it." After saying that, Xinyu smacked his lips. Imperial physician Gu really didn't lie. This medicine is much better than the last time. Except for that one time. The medicine prescribed by Imperial physician Gu was not bad. Xinyu would only complain in front of Shang Junlin. If Shang Junlin was not around, he could drink the medicine no matter how bitter it was. Just as Shang Junlin was about to say something, Xinyu opened his mouth to stop him. Although this medicine is not bitter, I still need to eat candied fruit. Your Majesty, please bring me some. Seeing that Xinyu was lazy and didn't want to move, Shang Junlin had to get up and bring over the candied fruit that had been prepared. I need your Majesty to feed me. Xinyu leaned on Shang Junlin, like a chick waiting for a big bird to feed it. Shang Junlin couldn't resist Xinyu's coquettish tone. After feeding Xinyu the candied fruit and water, his depressed mood because of Xinyu's illness was swept away. Does your Majesty have anything else to do this afternoon? Seeing that Shang Junlin had returned to normal, Xinyu's mood also relaxed. I have to summon the Prime Minister and the Minister of Works for a meeting later. Other than that, there is nothing else. Shang Junlin stroked Xinyu's soft long hair. I plan to summon Xinyu to Yuzhang Palace. Your Majesty, do you want to come with me or? Does you want me to stay? As your Majesty wishes. It's rare to hear such words from a Yu's mouth. I will accompany you first. After the matter here is settled, I will summon the Prime Minister and the others to the palace. The two of them made a decision and asked Eunuch Meng to bring Xinyu over from Consort Dowager's palace. Consort Dowager lived in a relatively remote place. After Shang Junlin ascended the throne, he originally wanted to arrange a good palace for her, but Consort Dowager herself refused. She was used to fighting in the former emperor's harem, so she just wanted to spend the rest of her days in peace. Xinyu had lived a fearful life in the dark prison. After she was sent to the imperial concubine's palace, she was much more well-behaved. She was not really a fool. After she came to her senses, she knew that she was in an ancient world where people's lives were not taken seriously, and imperial power was supreme. It was not like those romance novels where love was supreme. After all, she came from the modern world and knew more new things than the people in the ancient palace. After living in Consort Dowager's palace for a while, she gradually gained Consort Dowager's favor. Sister Xinyu, Consort Dowager wants you to go over. A young girl's clear voice sounded from outside the door. Xinyu folded the clothes in her hands. I'm coming. Xinyu didn't dare to delay. She hurriedly put down the matter at hand and rushed to where Consort Dowager was. Someone from Yuzhang Palace has come and wants you to go over. When Consort Dowager saw her, she had a smile on her face. After you go, if Guijun asks you anything, you have to answer well. If Guijun didn't act, you wouldn't be working in my palace right now. Newbie knows. Consort Dowager, don't worry. Newbie was insensible in the past, but it won't happen again. Xinyu obediently replied. Consort Dowager called her in front of her and gave her a few words of advice before saying, Go. Xinyu followed behind the young eunuch and walked out of the secluded palace. The nervousness and fear in her heart were gradually magnified. She only knew that her previous actions had violated many taboos after being lectured by the old imperial concubine. If it wasn't for the intervention of the noble lord, it wouldn't be too much for her to be executed. She had stayed in Consort Dowager's palace for a while. At the beginning, she didn't accept her fate. Why can he do it but I can't? Now she couldn't think of anything. Only she knew how she felt. The journey from Consort Dowager's residence to Yuzhang Palace wasn't long, but it wasn't short either. Along the way, Xinyu thought of many things, but it also seemed that she didn't think of anything. When the little eunuch leading the way stopped, she realized that they had arrived at Yuzhang Palace. The lofty palace gate came into view. This time, Xinyu's state of mind was completely different from last time. Your Majesty, what's the situation with Xinyu now? After handing her over to Shang Junlin, Xinyu didn't ask about this matter. Shang Junlin played with Xinyu's fingers. Xinyu's fingers were white and slender, like the best mutton fat jade. They weren't soft like a woman's fingers. Shang Junlin liked Xinyu's hands very much, especially when these hands grabbed his clothes or held him. Some images flashed through his mind. Shang Junlin coughed softly and retracted his thoughts. When I sent her over, I told the imperial concubine to properly discipline her. Later on, the imperial concubine also sent me a message. She has changed a lot from before. You will know when he sees her later. They didn't have to wait long before eunuch Meng came in with Xinyu. This servant greets your Majesty, your Majesty. Xinyu bowed politely. You may rise. Shang Junlin wouldn't make things difficult for a little girl. Xinyu looked at the girl whose words and actions were very different from before. She found that she was really different from before. From the moment she came in until now, she didn't look sideways and didn't show any reluctance in her actions. How have you been recently? Xinyu asked warmly. Because of the previous matter, Xinyu had a better impression of Xinyu. She carefully glanced at the emperor sitting next to Xinyu. Seeing that there was no displeasure on his face, she slowly breathed a sigh of relief. This servant has been living very well. Consort Dowager treats this servant very well. The people in Consort Dowager's palace are also very easy to get along with. If you're not used to it, you don't have to call yourself this servant. Xinyu knew that in the world before Xinyu came, everyone was equal. The rules here were very different. If Xinyu could be used by her, and didn't have any disloyalty, he didn't mind giving her some convenience. Hearing this, Xinyu looked at Xinyu in surprise. She was born and raised in the modern world. She was really not used to this world where she had to kneel here and there and call herself this servant. But now she also learned a phrase, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. There weren't many rules in Consort Dowager's palace. Consort Dowager didn't like the palace servants kneeling here and there, except for calling herself this servant. Xinyu felt that her life in Consort Dowager's palace was more comfortable than before. I called you here because I have something to discuss with you. The Ministry of Works is planning to pave cement roads. If you have any new ideas, you can bring them up. De Huan is about to have its first female official. If you want, you can also change your identity. Cement? A female official? Xinyu looked at Xinyu in shock. She couldn't tell which one shocked her more. She was also a transmigrator. Xinyu had already taken out the cement? Also, was it Xinyu's idea that a female official was also proposed by her? Yes. Xinyu leaned forward slightly. You can think about it. Is there anything you can do for De Huan? As long as you can make a contribution to De Huan, you can change the current situation. The world is so big. It's a pity to stay in the palace forever. What do you think? Xinyu's voice was very soft, with a hint of imperceptible coaxing. Little by little, it drilled into Xinyu's heart. She couldn't help but think, was she really willing to do nothing for the rest of her life? After transmigrating, did she have to be a palace maid for the rest of her life? She was muddle-headed in her previous life. Now that she had a second life, did she still want to live the same life as before? I did such a terrible thing in the past. I even wanted to destroy you. Why are you still willing to give me a chance? Xinyu couldn't figure it out. She knew the current situation. In the past, she was a bastard. Because of this, she couldn't understand Xinyu's actions. Because you also came from that place. Therefore, I am willing to give you a chance. As long as you are willing to use the knowledge you have to build De Huan. Xinyu looked at Xinyu. There seemed to be a flowing light in her dark eyes. It was tempting to step in. Xinyu stood blankly for a while. Suddenly, she knelt down and bowed to Xinyu. She said, I have made many mistakes in the past. I also know that a verbal apology is useless. I am willing to use the rest of my life to make up for the mistakes I have made. Xinyu wasn't someone who would easily forgive others for their mistakes. He gave Xinyu a chance. First, Xinyu had really changed. Second, Xinyu's appearance was similar to his. He always felt that Xinyu's life experience was related to him. Third, Xinyu's origin. This was also the most important point. Xinyu's understanding of that world was only through that book and Xinqingran. After all, he was different from Xinyu, who had really lived in that world. He was full of curiosity about that world. He wanted to know more about that world. It would be better if he could transfer some of his knowledge to De Huan. For example, the previous flood control method and cement. After speaking, Xinyu asked Xinyu to go back and think about it carefully. He had already planted a seed in Xinyu's heart. He just needed to wait for this seed to germinate and grow strong. Shang Junlin summoned the Prime Minister and the Minister of Works. He told them about Xinyu's idea. If this matter was to be implemented, it would take a long time. He just wanted to give them a heads up. When they returned to Yuzhang Palace, the sky was already dark. Xinyu was sitting on the soft couch reading a book. Shang Junlin walked over and hugged Xinyu in his arms. He held Xinyu's hand that was by her side. You seems to be very tolerant of Xinyu. I'm more concerned about her background. However, to be able to change Xinyu's character, concubine dowager must have put in a lot of effort. Her fingers were gently pressed. Xinyu relaxed and leaned in Shang Junlin's arms. Did your majesty already expect this? Is that why you sent Xinyu to concubine dowager? I originally thought that I might be able to find some clues about Duke Bei's wife from her. That's why I asked concubine dowager to help. Shang Junlin's 5 fingers intertwined with Xinyu's. You underestimated the person who could survive in the former emperor's harem. Concubine dowager had been in the former emperor's harem for so many years. She had seen all kinds of people. Xinyu was really nothing to her. Fortunately, your majesty's harem is clean. Otherwise, Xinyu thought for a moment. If before entering the palace, Shang Junlin's harem was not empty, would he still agree to enter the palace? Perhaps he would agree. However, his relationship with Shang Junlin would definitely not be like this. There's no such possibility. Shang Junlin pinched Xinyu's chin and made her turn to look at him. He lowered his head and planted a kiss on Xinyu's lips. I don't like those things. It's enough to have a you in this life. Chapter 80. I believe in your majesty. Xinyu naturally believed in Shang Junlin. Regardless of whether Shang Junlin would change in the future, at least in the past and present, he was as he said. As for the future, Xinyu did not want to think too much. As if sensing his concerns, Shang Junlin's kiss moved to the peak of his lips. You, my heart will never contain anyone other than you. Before meeting Xinyu, his heart was originally desolate. It was the arrival of Xinyu that made his heart bloom. This heart full of flowers would only bloom for Xinyu. As if tasting something delicious, he traced his lips little by little. The light color was gradually dyed a deep red. The tip of his tongue opened his teeth and nimbly explored the warm area. Your Majesty. Xinyu grabbed the black clothes beside him and welcomed Shang Junlin's storm-like kiss. All of his senses were lost. Xinyu closed his eyes slightly and moved the tip of his tongue slightly. Shang Junlin's movements paused. Then, as if he was encouraged by something, his attacks became more and more fierce. It was a chase but also a game of chess. Back and forth. No one was willing to give in easily. Shang Junlin's hand that was pinching Xinyu's chin had unknowingly moved to the back of Xinyu's head. He tightly grasped Xinyu's movements and did not give him any room to retreat. The storm was about to end. Shang Junlin's breath stopped at Xinyu's lips. Both of their breaths were a little unstable. Shang Junlin was unwilling to let go of Xinyu and calmed his breathing in the current position. You is so passionate tonight. Shang Junlin sighed softly. Your Majesty is also very excited. Xinyu had already clearly felt it. Just now he was completely focused on the kiss. When he came back to his senses, he realized how dangerous their current position was. Jin won't do anything. Just let Jin hug you for a while. As he spoke, he used his lips to lightly touch Xinyu's tender skin. After using up a lot of energy, Xinyu felt lazy and didn't want to move. It wasn't the first time he faced such a situation, but the atmosphere this time was different from the previous times. Xinyu couldn't describe it, but it didn't stop him from wanting to stay with Shang Junlin. Xinyu was sent back to Consort Dowager's residence by the people of Yuzhang Palace. Consort Dowager received the news and summoned Xinyu. Why does Imperial Concubine Dowager care so much about Shenyu? The old mama who served Imperial Concubine Dowager was puzzled. People like lively children when they are old. Do you think Shenyu is not likable now? Concubine Dowager slowly admired her nails. Look, this child knows a lot of new things. Concubine Dowager's hands were well maintained. Her nails were painted with decorative nail polish, which made her hands even more beautiful. The old mama poured a cup of tea for Concubine Dowager. She is indeed more likable than when she came. Concubine Dowager is really good at teaching people. You can even change Shenyu's strange temperament. She is young, so it's normal for her to take detours. His Majesty sent her to me and asked me to help discipline her. She must still be useful. If she is really that kind of person who can't be educated, I'm too lazy to get involved in this mess. Concubine Dowager picked up the tea and took a sip. That's right. We have seen all kinds of people these years. His Majesty is a good person. He always remembers Concubine Dowager's kindness. If it weren't for His Majesty, we wouldn't be able to live such a relaxed life. The old mama sighed. She had been serving Concubine Dowager for a long time. Her master had been with the late emperor since she was in seclusion. It was not easy for her to survive the bloody storm. Moreover, her master was not the kind of person who liked to fight for power and profit. This kind of peaceful life was really good for them. I helped him because it was not easy for a child like him to live in the harem. In addition, the late empress had protected me a lot. After that kind of thing happened, it was very difficult for a child like him to live in the harem. Besides, I didn't do much. It was his own hard work. He is willing to remember my kindness because he has kindness in his heart. But these are not reasons for us to force him to repay me. Do you understand? Concubine Dowager's tone was light, but the meaning behind her words was very heavy. I understand. The old mama's heart trembled. She knew that some rumors had reached Concubine Dowager's ears. I will strictly watch the people in the harem and not let them have any disloyalty. Yes. Concubine Dowager couldn't help but think of many years ago. When the late empress was still alive, the late emperor and the late empress were deeply in love. As the only son of the two, Shang Junlin could be said to be the true god's favored son. When she went to the empress's palace to pay her respects, she could often see Shang Junlin, who was trying hard to act like a little adult, studying by the empress's side. At that time, who would have thought that the most favored son of the Middle Palace would one day be sent to hell? After the late empress died, the late emperor, under the instigation of the treacherous courtiers, did not care about their many years of marriage. He killed more than 100 people of the empress's maternal family. In one night, Shang Junlin lost his mother, lost the strong support of his family, and did not have the ability to protect himself. She wanted to take this child over and raise him, but the late emperor gave a strict order that no one was allowed to take care of him. At that time, she did not have any status in the harem, and could only secretly help him. When she saw this child again, she could not see any shadow of the past from him. He was malicious and ruthless, like an avenger returning from hell. She did not know what happened between the late emperor and the late empress, but it must be very serious if the late emperor could kill the late empress's whole family overnight, and take away all the favor of his only son. Unfortunately, the insiders were all dealt with. She secretly investigated for a long time, but found no clues. Concubine Dowager, Miss Shenyu is here. Concubine Dowager sighed and collected her thoughts. Let her in. After Shenyu came in, she respectfully bowed to Concubine Dowager. She respected the person who gave her a new life from the bottom of her heart. Concubine Dowager called her to the front, took her hand and patted it. Seeing that you came back in one piece, I am relieved. Concubine Dowager. Shenyu's heart suddenly warmed. She had almost never received the care of the elders since she was a child. Beside Concubine Dowager, she felt for the first time what it was like to be carefully taught by the elders. Feeling Shenyu's attachment, Concubine Dowager smiled softly. His Majesty and Guijun asked me something, but I don't know what to do. Shenyu omitted the part about time travel, and summarized what had happened in Yuzhong Palace. Concubine Dowager heard Concubine Dowager's words. This shows that His Majesty and Guijun value you. I also heard that His Majesty intends to use female officials. This is an opportunity. I know you have a lot of strange ideas, but it is a waste of your talent to be trapped in my remote palace. Go ahead and do it. You are still young and have a lot of opportunities. The world is unfair to women, so it is hard for His Majesty and Guijun to consider women. Yes, women should not be the accessories of men. Xinyu agreed with this point. In the backward ancient times, as an emperor, he was willing to face the value of women. Xinyu admired this point. Concubine dowager, I am a little worried. Can I really do it well? Xinyu hesitated. It was not that she did not want to. If there was such an opportunity, who would be willing to live a muddle-headed life? However, she was a little afraid. If she really agreed, could she bear such a heavy burden? Good child, don't be afraid. Since His Majesty and Guijun proposed it, they will naturally help you. If you believe in me, I am also willing to do my best. Everything has a process from nothing to something. There is nothing to worry about. Yes. Xinyu nodded heavily. Xinyu received Xinyu's reply the next day. Shang Junlin went to the morning court. Xinyu closed her eyes and lay on the bed for a while before sitting up. Xinyu put clean clothes on the side and slowly put them on. When she got out of bed, she pulled her leg. Fortunately, she did not directly sit back down. Last night, she should not have been obsessed and promised Shang Junlin to help him with her leg. Xinyu frowned when she felt uncomfortable. Except for that time in the bathhouse, this was the second time. Although they did not really do it, Xinyu still could not ignore that strange feeling. Mu Shi, who had been waiting outside, heard the noise and came in with hot water. Young master, Xinyu sent a message. She said that she is willing to agree, but she said that she hopes to continue to stay with concubine dowager. Xinyu washed up and combed his hair with Mu Shi's help. Resisting the discomfort, he sat on the soft couch and slowly breathed a sigh of relief. I know. Ask her to sort out the things that she thinks are useful, and send them over after she has sorted them out. Xinyu was very tired today, and did not want to deal with the business. Yes, young master, do you want to eat? His Majesty specially ordered the small kitchen to always prepare food. Send it over. Ask someone to set up a small table. I will eat here. Mu Shi deftly did what Xinyu asked. Not long after, the small kitchen presented the dishes. Xinyu held the chopsticks and said, there is a new person in the small kitchen? There were several dishes on the table that Xinyu had not seen before. His Majesty asked the imperial chef in the palace who knows how to cook other dishes to send them over. Today they are served with several dishes that His Majesty often uses. His Majesty, try them and see if they are to your liking. The palace servant in charge of delivering the dishes replied. Xinyu tried them one by one. These dishes were not the same as the usual dishes in the palace, but they tasted very good. Xinyu only ate a few mouthfuls and his appetite was greatly improved. He even ate more rice than usual. When Shang Junlin came back from the morning court, Xinyu just finished eating. Seeing that he was eating happily, Shang Junlin directly asked someone to add more bowls and chopsticks, and Xinyu finished all the leftover dishes. Why didn't His Majesty ask someone to serve the dishes again? Xinyu leaned against the cushion behind him. Shang Junlin did not make room for him even though he came. Shang Junlin ate very quickly. His many years in the army had a great impact on him. Just like last night, when they were in the middle of the night, Xinyu slept until almost noon. Shang Junlin was still able to get up early and go to the morning court. After a while, Shang Junlin finished eating. He took the handkerchief from eunuch Meng and wiped his mouth. He said, You left so much food. Didn't you leave it especially for Zhen? Who left it for you? Xinyu turned his face away. Okay, you did not deliberately leave it for Zhen. Shang Junlin, who was full, was very easy to talk to. It was Zhen who was very hungry, okay? Eunuch Meng brought people to remove the tableware and table. Shang Junlin sat on the soft couch, took Xinyu in his arms and kissed him on the cheek. You can't be at odds with Zhen because of what happened last night. Last night, you agreed to it. I'm not at odds. I'm just a little uncomfortable. The atmosphere last night was too good. Xinyu responded to Shang Junlin with a kiss for the first time, which caused the man to be a little excited. Later, Xinyu could not resist and used his hand to help him. The two of them made out on the couch, and under the deep gaze of the man, he inexplicably suggested using his leg. Then it got out of hand. Zhen checked this morning. You're not injured. This time, you used the ointment sent by Imperial Physician Gu. Is it better than last time? Chapter 81. Xinyu vaguely remembered such a thing. At that time, his mind was in a mess. Now that he thought about it, there was indeed a slippery feeling. His thoughts unconsciously drifted to the night before. Beneath him was a soft bed, and in front of him was a hot breath. He was like a fish thrown to the surface of the water by the wind and waves, bobbing up and down with the waves. In a daze, a man's low voice sounded in his ears. I brought the ointment sent by Imperial Physician Gu. You won't feel uncomfortable this time. It was cold and hot. The wind and waves became stronger. Shang Junlin's heart itched when he saw the scarlet color crawling up his porcelain white skin. He had seen Xinyu's calm and self-controlled side. And he had also seen his absent-minded side. Regardless of whether it was the former or the latter, his heart was filled with love. Next time, I'll ask Imperial Physician Gu to send more. Shang Junlin leaned close to Xinyu's ear and whispered, Fortunately, I put away the ointment last time. Your Majesty, what do you think of Imperial Physician Gu's ointment? Xinyu pushed Shang Junlin away. He didn't want to be so close to him. What do you mean? His duty is to take good care of a Yu's body. Xinyu looked at him faintly. Does that include this? Shang Junlin held back his laughter and nodded. Xinyu. Xinyu was speechless. All right, I'm just teasing you. I'm not that stupid. I won't bring this matter to Imperial Physician Gu. Shang Junlin smiled and pinched Xinyu's earlobe. Xinyu's leg was still uncomfortable, and he didn't want to discuss this topic with the culprit. Your Majesty, have Miss Fong and the others' official positions been confirmed yet? It had been a few days since the results of the court examination were released. The other candidates who passed the court examination had all taken up their positions. Jiang Huiqing and He Qingyu had also taken up positions in the Hanlin Academy. Only Fang Jiai, who had placed second, had yet to come up with a plan. Originally, Shang Junlin wanted to take up a post in the Hanlin Academy, just like the previous banquet champion. However, he was met with fierce opposition from the courtiers. The Hanlin Academy was the starting point for one to enter the cabinet. They felt that it was enough to find a leisurely official position for Fang Jiai. There was no need to put her in the Hanlin Academy. Of course, there were more ministers who hoped that Shang Junlin would retract his order. They could not accept being an official in the same court as a woman. Not everyone had bad intentions towards the woman, but many people were unable to change their preconceived notions in a short period of time. Before the incident, it was undoubtedly a fantasy for a woman to be an official. Speaking of this matter, Shang Junlin rubbed his forehead as if he had a headache. The others didn't have any problems. They were even willing to take a step back and give He Qingyu and Jiang Huiqing higher official positions. Only Fang Jiai refused to budge. Xinyu, what do they plan to do with Miss Fang? Something that has already been announced to the world can't be retracted. Shang Junlin. They want me to bestow her a county lord or some other title of nobility. Xinyu. Giving her a title of nobility, but not giving her any real power. Not only does this shut the mouths of the people, but it also achieves their goal. It's a good suggestion that kills two birds with one stone. Shang Junlin. Currently, only the Prime Minister is willing to let Fang Jiaoyi enter the cabinet as an official. The other two still refuse to budge. The Dahuan cabinet had a lot of power. It had reached its peak during the reign of the previous emperor. After Shang Junlin ascended to the throne, he took back a lot of power. However, some of it was still in the hands of the cabinet. Other than the Prime Minister, the other two ministers in the cabinet were all from aristocratic families. If Shang Junlin wanted to do something that harmed the interests of the aristocratic families, the first obstacle he would encounter would be them. Both sides refused to budge. Now the matter had entered a stalemate. Although Fang Jiai was an exception this year, the triennial Qianglin banquet still had to be held. In previous years, it was held by the aristocratic families. However, because of Feng Jiai's matter this year, Shang Junlin simply threw the matter to the Ministry of Rites. On one hand, the Qianglin banquet was a large-scale banquet held to congratulate the high school students. On the other hand, it was an opportunity for the students who had yet to enter the officialdom to familiarize themselves with the official officials of the Dahuan cabinet. In order to show the importance of the banquet, the princes would usually attend. Shang Junlin didn't have any children. His brothers and relatives had been sent far away by him. He would either send his ministers to represent him, or go personally. Qianglin banquet? Does your majesty want to go? Shen Yu heard Shang Junlin mention it and asked. I plan to go. You will go with me. Shen Yu knew why Shang Junlin chose to go personally. Too many things had happened in the imperial examinations this year. The emperor's presence could not only show the importance of this matter, reassure the students, but also suppress the arrogance of some aristocratic families. Shen Yu was also a man. When Shang Junlin wanted to bring him along, no one objected. The main reason was that they knew that Shang Junlin wouldn't listen even if they did. Moreover, they would offend Shen Yu, who was highly favored by the emperor. It wasn't worth it. After the relevant regulations were finalized, the students also received the news. This year, His Majesty will bring His Majesty along. I finally have the chance to see for myself what the rumored His Majesty looks like. Don't you want to see His Majesty with your own eyes? If you can enter the imperial court as an official, you will have the chance to see His Majesty. The chance to see His Majesty is even rarer. I heard that the fraud this time was discovered in time because of His Majesty. Otherwise, we would all be in trouble. His Majesty is willing to bring His Majesty to the Qianglin banquet. It seems that the rumors are true. His Majesty really values His Majesty. Isn't the imperial harem forbidden from interfering in politics? Even if His Majesty dotes on His Majesty, he shouldn't bring His Majesty to such an occasion, right? Why shouldn't he? His Majesty brought His Majesty to the court examination. Speaking of which, it seems that no official is impeaching His Majesty. Isn't that so? They're all focused on the second place. When compared to Miss Feng's matter, I'm afraid that other matters are nothing in their eyes. His Majesty is really going to use female officials? It feels so strange. These things aren't for us to worry about now. Let's focus on what's at hand. That's true. It's the Qianglin banquet. I wonder if the poem is true. Will Miss Feng attend that day? I wonder what kind of woman she will be. She's a very capable and responsible woman. She's not afraid of power. If she can enter the imperial court as an official, I believe that she'll be a good official. The person who spoke had witnessed the farce at the Yingxing Tower with his own eyes. He had a good impression of Feng Jiai. He was sure that in that situation, even a man might not have done as well as Feng Jiai. The Feng residence. Lord Feng had long predicted that his daughter would encounter great resistance if she wanted to enter the imperial court as an official. He just didn't expect it to be so difficult at the beginning. After the Qianglin banquet, there will be a conclusion to this matter. Lord Feng sighed as he looked at his determined daughter. After the Qianglin banquet, the appointment of an official couldn't be delayed any longer. Although it seemed that the aristocratic families were suppressing Shang Junlin, that was only because Shang Junlin didn't want to push the aristocratic families too hard. Father has already done a lot for me. I'll walk the path in the future on my own. From the moment she had this dream, Feng Jiai knew that the path she had to walk was destined to be bumpy and full of thorns. In the past, she didn't dare to tell others about her dream because she knew how unbelievable and shocking it was. She thought that her dream would remain a dream for the rest of her life. She didn't expect that she would have the chance to make it a reality. It was so rare that the first people to tell her that she wasn't indulging in fantasy were the two men who stood at the peak of power in the Great Huan dynasty. From that moment on, she made a decision. She must walk a new path for all the women in the world. Soon, it was the day of the Qianglin banquet. Shang Junlin changed into a less formal imperial robe. Shen Yu wanted to experience the atmosphere among the students, so he didn't wear the robes that represented his status as an emperor. A white wide-sleeved robe was draped over a light blue gauze overcoat. His long hair was unbound and draped softly behind his back. His facial features were exquisite, his eyes dark and bottomless. He had a faint smile on his face and held a folding fan in his hand. The Cheonglin banquet was held outside the palace. There was a special residence for it. Xin Yu and Shang Junlin got on the carriage and slowly drove out of the palace. It's all thanks to Miss Fang. Otherwise, His Majesty would have been impeached by the imperial censor for taking me to the court examination. Xin Yu sat in the carriage and looked at Shang Junlin. That's right. With Fang Jiai's incident before, they chose to ignore the court examination. Shang Junlin was basically reviewing memorials in Yuzhong Palace. Xin Yu occasionally glanced at them. Most of the memorials were about Fang Jiai. Shang Junlin was too lazy to deal with them, so he asked people to take them out and put them aside. Your Majesty, you can distribute these unimportant memorials to the ministers. If Your Majesty is worried about the aristocratic families, you can promote a group of officials with clean backgrounds. Xin Yu suggested. The cabinet originally had the power to deal with these matters. However, the aristocratic families have been growing in power these years. If I give all the power to the cabinet, I won't be at ease. Yu is right. When I train a group of officials who are useful, I won't be as busy as I am now. When Shang Junlin first ascended the throne, he suffered a lot in the hands of the aristocratic families. Later, he used bloody means to suppress a group of ambitious people, and slowly gathered the power of the imperial court into his own hands. The appointment from the imperial court had not been announced yet. Jiang Huiqing was still living with He Qingyu. He originally planned to rent a house for himself, but He Qingyu persuaded him not to. Huiqing, are you not used to living here? Or do you find me annoying? When He Qingyu said this, the corners of his eyes drooped slightly, giving off an inexplicable feeling of being abandoned. Feeling guilty, Jiang Huiqing hurriedly explained. No, why would I find Brother Qingyu annoying? I'm just afraid that you will find me troublesome. Why would Huiqing cause me trouble? It's clearly Huiqing who has helped me a lot, He Qingyu interrupted him. Moreover, Huiqing has also given me money for food and accommodation. You can even help me from time to time when you're living here. Why would I find you troublesome? He Qingyu calmly sized up Jiang Huiqing and continued. If you have a place to live outside, I have nothing to say if you want to move out. However, you don't even have a place to live. Moreover, I'm used to having Huiqing by my side. If you really move out, I'm afraid I won't be able to adapt in a short period of time. It won't be too late for Huiqing to consider this matter after the appointment from the imperial court has been announced. Jiang Huiqing thought about it. That was true. During this period of time, he had become used to living and eating with He Qingyu. If he really moved out, whether the new place was to his liking was another matter. First, he himself would be very uncomfortable. Just as He Qingyu had said, he wasn't living in his house for free. The two of them arrived at the Cheonglin banquet together. One was the Zhuangyuan while the other was the Tanhua. As soon as they entered, they were surrounded by people. Some people wanted to get closer to He Qingyu, while others wanted to find Jiang Huiqing. The two of them were slowly separated by the crowd. Yi Jianming's followers finally found an opportunity. They looked at each other and sent someone to secretly follow them. Xin Yu got off the carriage and separated from Shang Junlin, walking into the crowd. Jiang Huiqing was talking to the people who kept coming up. Suddenly, he felt a pat on his shoulder. He turned around and suddenly met a pair of smiling eyes. Brother Yu? Chapter 82. Xin Yu nodded his head. Who is this brother? The people on the side also saw Xin Yu. They were surprised to see that he had a good temperament. He was one of the more knowledgeable people in this year's exam. He could speak to more than half of the people. For someone like the young master in blue, he definitely had an impression of him if he had seen him before. This is a good friend of mine. You can call him young master Yu. I have something to do here, so I'll leave for a while. Sorry. Seeing that he had a friend, the others didn't want to keep pestering him. They made an appointment to continue chatting next time before letting him go. Jiang Huiqing struggled to get out of the crowd. He walked to Xin Yu's side and glanced behind him. What are you looking for? Xin Yu pressed the handle of his fan against his chin. Are you not satisfied with seeing me? Why would I be? Jiang Huiqing blinked his eyes. I just feel that it's rare to see you alone. Didn't that person come with you? It turned out that he was looking for Shang Junlin. Of course he came. If he didn't come, how could I come alone? He's not here. I know you guys feel uncomfortable seeing him, so I asked him to go do his own things. Xinyu answered. Since Shang Junlin was here, there were some procedures that needed to be confirmed by him personally. There were also some ministers that he needed to meet. In comparison, Xinyu seemed to be very free. I didn't expect that you and that person would really come, Jiang Huiqing said as they walked to a less crowded place. The situation this time is different. Miss Fang's matter is too shocking. They are still making a fuss. Xinyu didn't mind revealing some details. For this matter, they were even willing to give you and brother he a higher official position. Indeed. After all, before this matter came out, no one expected that the second place of this year's exam would be a woman. Jiang Huiqing smiled shyly. To be honest, at first I thought I could at least get second place. At that time, I made a bet with His Majesty, saying that you would be the champion. As a result, His Majesty won both times, Xinyu said with a smile. How can Huiqing be so favored by brother Yu? Jiang Huiqing hadn't expected this and stilled. Huiqing accepts defeat to brother Qingyu and Miss Fang. What do you all think of Miss Fang's matter? Xinyu really wanted to know what this batch of examinees thought of women entering the imperial court as officials. I have the same opinion as brother Qingyu. I think Miss Fang is worthy of the heavy responsibility. Among the others, many of them were convinced by Miss Fang's essay. Although they have some reservations about a woman being an official, their opposition is not so firm. Jiang Huiqing replied after sorting out the information he had received these days. Actually, it's all thanks to the announcement of everyone's essays when the results were released. The facts are right in front of them, and they have no choice but to admit it. After reading Miss Fang's article, many people felt that they were not as good as her. Even I felt the same way. Fang Jiai's essay had a unique point of view, digging into areas they hadn't considered. It was novel and unique among all the answers, and made people's eyes light up. After Jiang Huiqing finished reading, he gained a lot of new insights. Afterwards, he pulled He Qingyu to discuss it. Both of them admired Fang Jiai for being able to write such an essay as a woman. At the time of the Prince of Yu's incident, I felt that this woman wasn't simple. Xinyu's eyes curved as he thought of the Prince of Yu who was unlucky because of this incident. A woman, after such an incident, can still stand out to seek justice for herself and the people who were hurt. Even if the other party was a member of the imperial family, she didn't back down. Yes, even if it's a man, how many people can do what Fang Jiai did? Jiang Huiqing was also present at the time. If it wasn't for his admiration, he wouldn't have acted as a bridge when Fang Jiai came looking for him. Xinyu casually glanced behind him and suggested, "Let's find a pavilion to sit for a while." Jiang Huiqing didn't object. The residence where the Qianglin banquet was held was very large. It was richly ornamented and the scenery was extraordinarily beautiful. Every certain distance, there were pavilions for people to rest in. The two chose one with few people and walked in. Seeing the two enter the pavilion and sit down, with no intention of leaving for the time being, the people following behind the two looked at each other. One person stayed behind to keep an eye on them, while the other quietly returned. Did you see clearly? Wasn't that He Qingyu by his side? Hearing the report from the person who came back, a young master frowned and asked. They had always regarded Yi Jianming as their leader. When they saw Yi Jianming being suppressed by a poor boy who came out of nowhere, they wanted to teach him a lesson. Yes, this servant saw clearly. That person was a bit shorter than young Master He, and the color of his clothes was different. Oh right, that person didn't tie up his hair. Do you know that person's identity? I don't know. I only heard Jiang Huiqing call him Brother Yu, surnamed Yu. The young master who spoke glanced at the person beside him. Are there any aristocratic families surnamed Yu in the capital? As far as I know, there aren't any. There's no one surnamed Yu in this year's imperial examinations. A person who came out of nowhere. The person who spoke held his chin. He's nothing to be afraid of. Come, let's go take a look. Shouldn't we greet Brother Jiaming first? The other person was a bit hesitant. And it's the Qianglin banquet right now. If something happens, you're just a coward. We won't really do anything to that Jiang guy. We just want to make friends with him. How could we really do anything at the Qianglin banquet? We're not stupid. They weren't like Yi Jianming, who had been carefully raised by his family. His goal for participating in the imperial examinations was also very simple. He wanted to be in the top 3 and enter the Hanlin Academy to prepare for entering the cabinet in the future. Originally, everything had been planned very well. Who would have thought that 3 dark horses would suddenly appear? They didn't care why that person from the He clan of Jiangnan would suddenly become an official. As for the other 2, one was a woman, and the other was from a poor family with no foundation. They could still make some moves. Xin Yu and Jiang Huiqing chatted for a while. Suddenly, they heard footsteps approaching. Xin Yu turned to look. It was a group of young masters dressed in luxurious clothes. He understood immediately. Brother Yu, are they your friends? Seeing that these people were clearly heading in their direction, Jiang Huiqing was slightly confused. I don't know them. Do you know them, Huiqing? I don't. It's fate that brought us together. Just because you didn't know each other before doesn't mean you won't know each other in the future. Don't you think so, Lord Tanhua? As they spoke, the group of people had already entered the pavilion. Xin Yu sized them up one by one, and found that one of them could be considered an old acquaintance. He was the kind of person who had made friends with many times in his previous life. Who are you? Feeling the malice from these people, Jiang Huiqing frowned. He found a seat and sat down. The person who seemed to be the leader said, My surname is Zhao. The 2 people beside me are surnamed Dian and Lu. We just want to get to know you, the Tanhua master. We don't have any other intentions. But I don't want to know you. Jiang Huiqing didn't have a good impression of these people. He didn't want to be entangled with them. He didn't expect Jiang Huiqing to be so direct. Young Master Zhao's heart choked. He thought that this kind of person from a poor family would be easy to hook up with. He didn't expect that he would be rejected. If there's nothing else, you can leave. Jiang Huiqing's face turned cold. He didn't hesitate to chase them away. You don't know what's good for you. We took the initiative to make friends with you because we think highly of you. Otherwise, do you think that you, a poor family without any foundation, can stand firm in the capital just because you are the Tanhua master? Young Master Zhao was angered and threatened. Another person said, Young Master He, who often hangs out with you, is only from the He family in Jiangnan. If something really happens, they can't do anything. Instead of clinging on to him, why don't you change your target? If the people you are on good terms with are us, it will be much more convenient in the future. This is my business. I don't need you to worry about it. Jiang Huiqing's tone became colder and colder. Also, if something happens, only the imperial court and His Majesty can make the decision. Or is it that your power surpasses His Majesty's? We didn't say that. With such a big accusation, who would dare to admit it? Then what do you mean? Xin Yu said while waving his fan. Aren't you implying that you have a lot of power? Young Master Zhao and the others' attention was on Jiang Huiqing. It wasn't until Xin Yu spoke that they diverted some attention to him. Who are you? Huiqing's good friend. I can't stand you using your power to force people. Are all the aristocratic families in the capital like this? Xin Yu deliberately pretended to be an outsider. It's really an eye-opener. Because of Zhen Beiho's favoritism, Xin Yu rarely went to the big events in the capital. Very few people knew him. After entering the palace, outsiders had even fewer opportunities to see him. It was not strange that these people did not know Xin Yu. If everyone knew him, he wouldn't dare to walk around here with his real appearance. Thinking of the purpose of this visit, young Master Zhao took a deep breath and suppressed his anger. We really just admire young Master Zhang's talent and want to make friends with him. I've never seen anyone make friends with such an attitude. Instead of saying that you are making friends, it's more appropriate to say that you are seeking revenge. Xin Yu tilted his head and pretended not to understand. Or is this a unique way for aristocratic families in the capital to make friends? You. Young Master Zhao was so stifled that he couldn't breathe. He pointed at Xinyu and said you for a long time, but he couldn't say you. Seeing that the situation was not good, one of the people who had hesitated at the beginning secretly summoned a servant and whispered some instructions. The servant quietly retreated. Xinyu saw the servant disappear at the end of the path and pretended not to see. The servant hurried to find Yi Jiaming and told him exactly what happened in the pavilion. After listening, Yi Jiaming's expression changed again and again. He scolded in a low voice, "A bunch of idiots." Of all the times, they chose the Qianglin banquet. They deliberately set him up. But he couldn't leave them alone. He was the one who brought them in. If something really happened, he would be the first to be blamed. Hurriedly bidding farewell to the people around him, Yi Jiaming rushed to the place the servant mentioned with an ugly expression. When Yi Jiaming arrived, young Master Zhao and the others were confronting someone with red faces and thick necks. On the other hand, Jiang Huiqing's side was at ease, as if they were playing with people. "Shut up." Yi Jiaming adjusted the expression on his face, walked over, and said to Jiang Huiqing and Xinyu, "I'm sorry, I apologize to the two of you on their behalf. If they've been rude in any way, please forgive them. We don't dare. How could we dare to be dissatisfied with aristocratic families?" Xinyu opened his fan and covered half of his face. "If one day they disappear without a trace, we won't even know how they disappeared. How could it be?" Yi Jiaming glanced at those people. He couldn't imagine how many things they shouldn't have said. How could they be so stupid, daring to say anything when provoked? What disappear? I didn't know that there was someone who could make people disappear without a trace under my eyes. Chapter 83. A dignified voice came from behind. Yi Jiaming stiffly turned his head. The moment he saw who it was, a great panic rose in his heart. He couldn't help but start to regret. Why did he bring those people from the Zhao family in? Why did he acquiesce when they proposed to deal with Jiang Huiqing? He only thought that the aristocratic families could hold up the sky in the capital, but forgot that there was imperial power above the aristocratic families. The one who could decide everyone's fate was not the aristocratic families, but the real master of Dahuan, Shang Junlin. Seeing Yi Jianming's increasingly ugly face, the other people finally realized the seriousness of the matter. After calming down, they suddenly realized that they had said a lot of things that they shouldn't have said. They all knelt down in panic. Shang Junlin glanced at the minister beside him and walked to Xinyu's side. He said in a deep voice, "This is the outstanding son of an aristocratic family you were talking about, official Yi?" There was an inexplicable sarcasm in his voice. The questioned official's face turned red and then white. He hurriedly knelt down and begged for forgiveness. "It's my fault for not teaching him well. Your Majesty, please forgive me." Official Yi and the other aristocratic family officials were just discussing with Shang Junlin about this year's examination. Other than Fang Jiai's matter, of course they wanted to seek the best interests for the aristocratic families. Who would have thought that before the discussion reached a conclusion, the son of an aristocratic family with the best results had an accident? Official Yi almost vomited blood in his heart. Yi Jiaming was carefully cultivated by the Yi family. Not only did he not become the champion, but he also had such an accident. He could be considered as a waste. His Majesty had always been afraid of the aristocratic families being too powerful, so he had always supported the commoners to balance the power of the aristocratic families. Now His Majesty had heard such words with his own eyes. He had heard it with his own ears, but there was no chance to remedy it. No, it wasn't really heard with his own ears. After all, those words didn't come from the mouth of an aristocratic family's son. The truth was still to be discussed. After thinking this through, Official Yi looked in the direction of the person who had just spoken. Other than Jiang Huiqing, there was also a handsome young man. The lower half of the young man's face was covered by a fan, only revealing his delicate eyebrows. Feeling his gaze, Xinyu looked over. His eyebrows curved, but there was no smile in his eyes. Official Yi was in a trance for a moment, but he suddenly realized that this young man was none other than Shen Guijun, who had left the palace with His Majesty. Why was he with Jiang Huiqing? What was his relationship with Jiang Huiqing? A series of questions flooded into Lord Yi's mind. He didn't dare to think too deeply about whether what happened today was a coincidence or a trap set up in advance. Shang Junlin's tone was cold. Indeed, they need to be disciplined. Today, at the Qianglin banquet, they even dared to make a move on the Tanhua of the imperial court. In the future, when they enter the imperial court and have more power in their hands, won't they do more things that they shouldn't? I know my mistake. Student knows his mistake. Since you know your crime, then you can't be exempted from the punishment you deserve. Otherwise, wouldn't the world say that His Majesty is biased towards the aristocratic families? Where is the dignity of your Majesty and the aristocratic families? Shen Yu hooked Shang Junlin's finger with his hand hidden under his sleeve. Your Majesty, don't you agree? Guijun is right. Today we are both here. Otherwise, no one would know that the Tanhua was bullied. Official E, why don't you tell us, what is the punishment for threatening and humiliating an official of the Great Huan dynasty? It seemed that His Majesty wasn't going to let this matter rest. Official E and the kneeling aristocratic family officials felt defeated. They didn't have time to care about the poor children and the female officials. How to prevent His Majesty from taking advantage of this opportunity to punish the aristocratic families was the most important thing. Only now did young Master Zhao and the others realize how big of a mess they had made. Young Master Zhao's face turned pale. The Zhao family had always relied on the Yi family. If Yi Jianming was implicated because of him, or even if all the aristocratic families were implicated, his family would be finished. Your Majesty, I was the one who did this. It has nothing to do with young Master Yi. Your Majesty, please understand. Young Master Zhao made up his mind and kowtowed a few times, taking all the blame on himself. I was the one who admired young Master Jiang and wanted to get to know him. After being rejected, I was angry and spoke without thinking. This really has nothing to do with young Master Yi. The rest of the people also reacted and took the blame on themselves. Seeing that there was room for manipulation, the aristocratic family officials looked at each other while Shang Junlin's gaze fell on the aristocratic family members. One of them opened his mouth and said, Your Majesty, please investigate the truth of the matter. Shen Yu smiled coldly. Does this official mean that I would slander young Master Yi? Not to mention that I don't know young Master Yi and have no enmity with each other. I am also from an aristocratic family. Why would I lie? Shen Yu knew that these people wouldn't admit to their crimes obediently. In order to minimize the losses, he had to find a few scapegoats. Thus, during the argument just now, he intentionally or unintentionally led these people to talk about Yi Jianming. Otherwise, why would he waste so much time talking to these people? Jiang Huiqing sensed his intentions. The two of them cooperated and got some information out of him. This official doesn't dare. I think you are very daring. It's not easy to survive in the officialdom. So what if you're third in the imperial examination? You don't have any foundation in the capital. How far do you think you can go? These words were said by Yi Jianming himself. Does he really know nothing about it? Do you believe it? Shen Yu put down his fan and leaned on Shang Junlin. Your Majesty, take them away first. Don't ruin the Qianglin banquet. When the banquet is over, punish them accordingly. What do you think? Shang Junlin looked down at the officials kneeling on the ground. This official accepts the decree. What could be said had been said. What else could they say? Fortunately, it was dealt with after the Qianglin banquet, which gave them time to respond. All right, all of you may rise. The guards came to take Yi Jianming and his group away. Shang Junlin took Shen Yu and left. Jiang Huiqing followed behind them. The remaining officials looked at each other. They didn't immediately follow. Instead, they gathered together and discussed in low voices. Say, do you think today's incident was an accident? This question is no longer important. Whether it was an accident or a coincidence, it has already happened. Moreover, His Majesty saw it. After all the previous incidents, do you still think that His Majesty is an easy person to deal with? We didn't send His Majesty a person to restrain him. We sent him a helper into the palace. All right, let's not talk about this anymore. Let's think about how to deal with this matter. Lord Yi interrupted them. Let's first talk to the two officials in the cabinet and see what's going on. I originally thought that Jiang Huiqing was easy to deal with. I didn't expect him to be in contact with His Majesty. Tell your people not to lay a hand on him, unless you have a complete grasp of the situation. Some lessons should be learned once. Lord Yi instructed. Yes. On the other side, He Qingyu received the news. He apologized to the people he was talking to and hurried over. Huiqing, are you all right? He Qingyu looked at Jiang Huiqing from head to toe. He was relieved when he saw that Jiang Huiqing was fine. I'm fine. His Majesty and His Majesty are here. No one can hurt me. Jiang Huiqing allowed him to look at him. Seeing that he was worried, he comforted him. I shouldn't have let you go alone. He Qingyu was very upset. If he had followed, those people wouldn't have dared to lay a hand on Jiang Huiqing. I'm really fine. His Majesty and His Majesty are both here. Jiang Huiqing pointed to the front. He Qingyu let go of Jiang Huiqing's arm and bowed to the two people not far away. Greetings, Your Majesty and His Majesty. No need to be so polite. Xinyu pulled Shang Junlin over and joked. I see you guys together all day long. When I saw Huiqing today, I was curious why you weren't with him. I didn't pay attention for a while, and was separated by the crowd. Thank you for helping Huiqing. In fact, we also have to thank him. If it wasn't for today's incident, who knows how long your appointment would have been delayed. This time, if the aristocratic families want to protect Yi Jianming and themselves, they will have to make some concessions. Xinyu didn't expect that things would take such a big turn for the better in such a short time. When they reached the intersection, the two sides separated. Brother Xinyu, you don't want me to move. Are you worried that the aristocratic families will lay a hand on me? After this incident, Jiang Huiqing thought deeper. That's just one of the reasons. He Qingyu admitted. Huiqing, you don't have to think too much. What I said to you before wasn't an excuse. The real reason is that I'm used to living with you. I didn't think too much. It's just. Jiang Huiqing sighed. Forget it. I'll have to trouble Brother Qingyu during this time. Huiqing, you don't have to feel pressured living with me. Because of my family, they won't dare to lay a hand on me. After this incident, they won't dare to act rashly. He Qingyu suddenly stopped and faced Jiang Huiqing. He said in a low voice, as the eldest son of the family, I've been taught that I have to bear the responsibility of the family in the future. Because of the heavy workload of school, my younger brothers and sisters were also ordered not to disturb me. Every time they wanted to get close to me, they would be quickly called away by the elders. Getting along with Huiqing has been one of my wishes since I was young. Jiang Huiqing unconsciously followed He Qingyu's words, and imagined the scene of the young He Qingyu wanting to get close to his younger brothers and sisters, but unable to do so because of the heavy responsibility on his shoulders. His heart softened, and he went forward to hug He Qingyu. If Brother Qingyu doesn't mind, you can treat me as your younger brother in the future. He Qingyu's body stiffened. He slowly put his hand on Jiang Huiqing's back and said in a hoarse voice, Okay. The Qianglin banquet officially began. Shang Junlin held Xinyu's hand and walked to the main seat. He said a few words of encouragement, and then started the banquet. With Shang Junlin present, whether it was the officials or the reserves who were about to enter the officialdom, everyone was nervous. Shang Junlin also knew that everyone would be restrained if he was here. After the normal procedure, he left with Xinyu. After they left, the atmosphere gradually warmed up. There were not many people outside. Xinyu held Shang Junlin's hand and walked slowly along the path. Your Majesty, don't you think that He Qingyu pays too much attention to Jiang Huiqing? Xinyu felt that Shang Junlin was euphemistically saying this. Huiqing didn't feel anything wrong at all. Their affairs should be handled by them. You cares about them, so why not care more about me? Shang Junlin treated Jiang Huiqing differently because of Xinyu. He didn't care about the relationship between the officials. Your Majesty, how else do you want me to care about you? Ask about your well-being every day? Greet you in the morning and evening? That's not necessary. Shang Junlin suddenly stopped and pulled Xinyu into his arms. You just needs to pay less attention to others. Xinyu was caught off guard and bumped into Shang Junlin's arms. She smelled the ambergris on Shang Junlin's body and said with a smile, Then I'll think of your majesty every morning, noon and night, okay? Chapter 84. Is it only for these few days? What about the rest of the time? Won't you miss me? Shang Junlin was still not satisfied. Then what does your majesty want to think? I think of you every moment of every day, Shang Junlin hinted. Oh, I know. Xinyu dragged her tone. Your majesty wants me to think of you all the time? Yes. Shang Junlin nodded reservedly. Xinyu lifted her head from Shang Junlin's arms and smiled. Your majesty, do you know what you look like now? Shang Junlin was in a good mood after achieving his goal. He gently stroked Xinyu's waist. What I look like is not important. You, don't forget what you promised me. What promise? Xinyu was about to ask when she suddenly remembered that Shang Junlin was talking about what had happened just now. She bumped into the man's arms again and said in a muffled voice, I know. I will think of your majesty more every day. Shang Junlin put one hand on Xinyu's back and stroked her long hair. He felt a sense of satisfaction. They stood under the waning lights, far away from the hustle and bustle, forming a world of their own. The harmonious atmosphere between the two did not allow anyone to interrupt. After quietly hugging each other for a while, Shang Junlin let go of Xinyu and the two continued to walk along the small path. After today's incident, the aristocratic families should be more relaxed about Feng Jiai. After all, Shang Junlin had her weakness. Even if they opposed, they would not be as confident as before. I have given them some time to relax. It depends on what they choose. Shang Junlin's tone was emotionless when he mentioned the aristocratic families. I saw the girl from the Feng family just now. She was at ease in the crowd of students and was not restrained at all. The other people she interacted with were not as calm as her. Not wanting to spoil Shang Junlin's mood, Xinyu casually changed the topic. Feng Jiai's attire today was more neutral. She didn't wear a woman's extravagant and complicated dress, nor did she wear too many red hairpins in her hair. This allowed people to know that she was a woman at a glance, and she didn't look out of place with the overall atmosphere of the Qianglin banquet. We have also noticed that she has a good relationship with the top scholar and the third flower. While sitting upright, Shang Junlin had been paying attention to the movements of the people below. Compared to the others, Feng Jiai was indeed more willing to talk to Jiang Huiqing and He Qingyu. Unlike the others, when the two of them conversed with her, they didn't act strangely because of her identity as a woman. Even if the others tried their best to restrain themselves, there would still be a trace of something wrong in their words and actions. The atmosphere of the banquet was lively. The students discussed their knowledge with each other, and the bolder ones would directly ask the officials questions. Some of the aristocratic officials were simply unable to sit still. The emperor could leave the banquet as he pleased, but they couldn't. Even if they were anxious to solve Yi Jianming's matter, they could only sit there and force a smile. They couldn't show the slightest hint of abnormality. Lordy knocked on the table. Have you sent someone to deliver the news to the two officials? Don't worry, Lordy. I have already sent someone. Because their grades were close, Feng Jiai, He Qingyu, and Jiang Huiqing's seats were also close. Feng Jiai was attentive and noticed that there weren't many aristocratic officials present. She asked in a low voice, Did something happen just now? A few officials had strange expressions. Young master, he also didn't attend. I remember bumping into him when I just arrived. The matter was temporarily suppressed, so Jiang Huiqing couldn't say it out loud. He said in a low voice, He did something and happened to run into His Majesty. After a few sentences, the two sides naturally changed the topic. The other two cabinet ministers received the news from the Qianglin banquet and went to their usual meeting place to discuss in detail that night. The two cabinet ministers were from the aristocratic Feng family and Duan family respectively. They had a lot of authority among the aristocratic families in the capital. After taking their seats, the two of them dismissed the servants. Lord Feng asked, What does His Majesty mean by this? Lord Duan said, It's obvious that His Majesty is forcing us to make concessions. Otherwise, based on His Majesty's usual temperament, he would have dealt with them on the spot without giving us any time to react. Lord Feng said, That's true. His Majesty is still the same as before. He won't listen to advice. Lord Duan said. If he could listen, then he wouldn't be him. Have you forgotten what happened when he just ascended the throne? The previous emperor wanted him to leave Prince Yu in the capital to recuperate. He ignored the objections of the officials and directly sent him away. How many officials did he deal with back then? Lord Feng said. Prince Yu is also an incompetent person. Otherwise, why would we be in such a difficult position? Lord Duan said. If it were up to me, he had wanted to kill Prince Yu for a long time. This time, when Prince Yu was imprisoned, he took advantage of the fact that no one could refute and directly pin the mastermind behind the fraud on Prince Yu. It's extremely difficult for Prince Yu to turn the tables. Lord Feng said. They contacted us and said that they want our help. Should we do it? Lord Duan said. There's no hurry. We'll have to wait until the end to see the results. Lord Feng said. Then what about the imperial examinations this time? Are we really going to do as he wishes? Lord Duan said. What else can we do? He's determined to promote people from humble backgrounds to go against us. Now he's even allowed women to enter the imperial court as officials. Sooner or later, he'll destroy his own Great Wall. The next morning, during the discussion about women entering the imperial court as officials, there were fewer objections. Other than Feng Jiai's position, everyone else's positions were more or less decided. As the weather became warmer and warmer, Xingyu spent more time outside the house. Imperial physician Gu also said that it was appropriate for him to walk outside more. Shang Junlin was very concerned about Xingyu's matters. After hearing Imperial physician Gu say that it was good for Xingyu to walk outside more often, he would take Xingyu outside whenever he had time. Shang Junlin originally wanted to let Xingyu practice martial arts to keep fit, but Xingyu flatly refused. After being reborn, he only wanted to be as comfortable as possible. In the evening after finishing dinner, Shang Junlin put down his work and held Xingyu's hand to take a walk in the small garden outside Yuzhong Palace. Feng family and Duan family? Xingyu's footsteps paused. He had an impression of these two families because in his previous life, these two families had secretly sought refuge with the King of Yu. Before the King of Yu ascended the throne, they had done a lot of things for him. The Feng family and the Duan family have actually been entrenched in Dahuan since the founding of Dahuan Empire. However, their real heyday was during the late period of the previous emperor's reign. At that time, the previous emperor favored treacherous officials and allowed the power to fall into the hands of the aristocratic families who had been eyeing them covetously. The Feng family and the Duan family benefited the most. Seeing that Xinyu was interested in the Feng family and the Duan family, Shang Junlin explained more. When I first ascended the throne, I dealt with a lot of people. The Feng family and the Duan family were very sensible, so I couldn't do anything to them. At that time, the imperial court was too chaotic. First, the previous emperor had caused a lot of trouble. Capable officials were either forced to resign or were framed and executed. Those who were left behind were mostly in cahoots with the treacherous officials. Shang Junlin's foundation in the imperial court was not stable. He had seized the throne with military power, and there were very few people who could be used. After massacring those treacherous officials who had caused chaos in the imperial court, there was a large gap in the number of officials who could be used. Shang Junlin had no choice but to temporarily use the officials from the aristocratic families who were relatively obedient. However, the consequences of doing so were endless. The aristocratic families and the imperial power would fight. If the aristocratic families were the most powerful, the imperial power would definitely be threatened. After ascending the throne, Shang Junlin attached great importance to the imperial examination and used the officials from humble families. This was also to balance the power of the imperial court. Only when the various powers kept each other in check could long-term stability be maintained. Right now, the Prime Minister is the only person in the cabinet who is not a member of the aristocratic families. The aristocratic families occupy 2 positions in the cabinet. Who does Your Majesty intend to use to replace one of them? Shang Junlin's intention was to ruthlessly suppress the aristocratic families. Feng Jun, the Prime Minister and official Feng are both in the cabinet. If both of them are in the cabinet, it will be much more convenient for your majesty to do whatever you want. Xinyu lowered his eyes and pondered. With the book he had read in his previous life and the information he had obtained from Shen Qingran, as well as the help of Xinyu in this life, he would definitely be able to bring out many new things that would be beneficial to the development of Dahuan. If the aristocratic families were to obstruct him, these things might become a sharp weapon for the aristocratic families to seize power. In his previous life, Shen Qingran had brought out many things that had benefited the aristocratic families. The aristocratic families had become stronger day by day and had made a mess of Dahuan. Xinyu did not want to make a wedding dress for the aristocratic families. Ayu's proposal regarding the reform of the business system has not been announced to everyone yet. Before the time is right, we still need to wait. There's no need to rush. Every major change cannot be completed overnight. Moreover, the cement issue has only just begun. It will be more foolproof if there are no other problems. Ayu still understands me. Shang Junlin sighed. Your Majesty, when will Jiang Huiqing's appointment be announced? Xinyu wanted to see what kind of path Jiang Huiqing would take in this life without those accidents. Soon. If there are no accidents, these two people will be able to enter Hanlin Academy. Although the official position at Hanlin Academy would not be too high, what was more important was the significance of this starting point. Entering Hanlin Academy was equivalent to taking half a step into the cabinet. Jiang Huiqing had a good attitude. Even though he had not been officially appointed because of Fang Jiai's matter, he was still happy every day. He Qingyu had sent a letter to his family, saying that he was the top scorer in the imperial examination and would not be able to return to Jiangnan for a while. Even if he were to be transferred out in the future, he would not be sent to Jiangnan as an official. After dealing with his own matters, He Qingyu came out of his room. Huiqing, didn't you say that you did not have enough paper and pen last time? A new shop opened in Beijing. Do you want to take a look? Jiang Huiqing was sorting out his and He Qingyu's books. The spring sun was good, so he took them out to dry in the sun. The place to dry the books almost occupied the entire small courtyard. These books were brought from home, and some were bought after coming to Beijing. Jiang Huiqing heard the sound and turned around. Yes. He did not have enough paper and pen. These days He Qingyu had given him some. Jiang Huiqing was embarrassed to keep taking advantage of He Qingyu. Under the sun, the young man's jade-like body was even more dazzling. He Qingyu was dazzled. He pursed his lips and walked over. Xinyu fell into a dream of his previous life. He had not dreamed of his previous life for a long time. He did not know if it was because he had been thinking about his previous life recently that he had such a dream. In the dream it was a rainy day. He was lying on the bed. The quilt seemed to weigh 1,000 pounds, making him unable to breathe. Thump, thump, thump. The sound of footsteps was getting closer and closer. Xinyu struggled to open his eyes. He saw Prince Yu, who had changed into an imperial robe, standing by the bed and staring at him with dark eyes. Xinyu, you see, no matter how unwilling you are, we will still ascend the throne. You cannot change our destiny. No, that's not right. Xinyu struggled to get up, but he could not move. He was so frightened that he broke out in a cold sweat. Ayu, wake up. A familiar voice came through the heavy rain. Xinyu struggled to open his eyes. He was startled by the face that suddenly enlarged in front of him. Seeing the fear in his eyes, Shang Junlin moved back a little. He reached out and stroked his sweat-soaked hair. Ayu, why are you so afraid of us? Chapter 85. Don't you know whether I'm afraid of your majesty or not? Xinyu leaned against Shang Junlin's palm and slowly calmed down the palpitation caused by the dream. He didn't know why he had this dream, or if this dream was a sign of something. He only knew that in this life, he wouldn't let the ending of his previous life happen again. If he could change the ending of the book once, he could change it a second time. I know that Ayu is not afraid of me. In this world, I'm afraid that only Ayu is not afraid of me. Shang Junlin helped Xinyu get up. What nightmare did Ayu have that made you scared when you saw me? It was indeed a nightmare. In the dream, Prince Yu was wearing clothes similar to Shang Junlin's, So when he woke up and saw Shang Junlin dressed similarly to Prince Yu in his dream, he couldn't tell if he was in a dream or had already woken up. Is it raining? Xinyu looked at the window. It was clearly afternoon, but the room was dark. There was a faint sound of rain coming from outside. It overlapped too much with the scene in his dream. Xinyu was a bit absent-minded. It started raining after you fell asleep. I helped you up. Do you want me to call for hot water? Xinyu's forehead was sweating a lot. Shang Junlin just touched his forehead and found that his hair was also wet. Xinyu loved cleanliness, so he must be uncomfortable. Xinyu felt that his body was indeed uncomfortable. He didn't know how much sweat he had in his dream. His inner shirt was soaked and stuck to his body. It was very uncomfortable. Yes, I want to wash. Xinyu seemed to be exhausted by the struggle in his dream. His hands and feet were weak, and he staggered when he got up. Mengchang, prepare the hot water, Shang Junlin ordered, took a fox fur coat and directly wrapped Xinyu up. Be careful not to catch a cold. Xinyu's whole body was wrapped in fur, only revealing her face. Her fair face was dyed with a faint layer of crimson. In contrast, her lips were so light that they were almost transparent. Shang Junlin held him in his arms and held his cold hands. He said worriedly, "Let Imperial Physician Gu take a look at you?" Xinyu nodded indiscernibly. He was still very tired. After more than 2 hours of nap, because of a dream, it was even more tiring than not sleeping at all. Xinyu was nestled in Shang Junlin's arms. Her eyelids were drooping. From afar, she looked like she was about to fall asleep. Eunuch Meng asked the palace servants to prepare hot water, and gently knocked on the door. Your Majesty, the hot water is here. It was the first time he had asked for hot water in the middle of the day. Eunuch Meng didn't know the specific situation in the room, so he didn't dare to rashly enter. Shang Junlin's voice came from inside the room. Come in. Yes. Eunuch Meng turned his head and warned the palace servants who were carrying the hot water. When you enter, be smart and keep your head down. Don't look at what you shouldn't look at. If you violate His Majesty's taboo, don't blame me for not reminding you. Yes, yes. The palace servants responded timidly. They served in Yuzhong Palace and experienced several bloody storms. Later, with Eunuch Meng Jr.'s exhortations, they didn't dare to have any thoughts that they shouldn't have. After giving the order, Eunuch Meng gently opened the door and led the palace servants in with his head down. There was a screen in the room, so the situation on the bed couldn't be seen. Eunuch Meng asked the servants to put down the bathtub. He was about to leave when Shang Junlin stopped him. Mengchang, go to the Imperial Hospital and ask Imperial Physician Gu to come over. Eunuch Meng was shocked. Why did they need to ask for an imperial physician? No matter how confused he was, he wouldn't ask. He replied, I'll go now. No need to leave anyone to serve. Take them out. Yes. Eunuch Meng couldn't get much information from Shang Junlin's tone. He didn't dare to be careless and immediately did as he was told. After taking the servants out, he bumped into Mu Shi, who was carrying medicine. Eunuch Meng, what's the matter? Mu Shi asked when she saw Eunuch Meng in a hurry. It's Miss Mu Shi. Are you going to deliver medicine to Guijun? Don't go in yet. Wait for His Majesty to summon you. Eunuch Meng stopped and thought about the possible situation in the room. Did something happen? Mu Shi suddenly became nervous. Miss, don't be nervous. His Majesty just ordered hot water. I'm afraid it's not very convenient now. It's noon. Why? Mu Shi suddenly realized something and her face turned red. I understand. Thank you for your reminder, Eunuch Meng. Eunuch Meng saw that she understood and hurriedly went to carry out Shang Junlin's orders. Shang Junlin carried Xinyu to the bathtub and tested the temperature of the water with his hand. The temperature of the water is suitable. I'll put you in. Xinyu nestled in Shang Junlin's arms and nodded very gently. Shang Junlin peeled her out of the fox fur coat and slowly put her in the water. Xinyu leaned against the edge of the bathtub and soaked in the hot water. She gradually relaxed. There was more color on her lips and her skin turned light pink from the heat. Shang Junlin took a handkerchief and carefully wiped Xinyu. Xinyu's skin was very white. It was the kind of white that was lustrous and smooth. It was like the best mutton fat white jade. It was also very tender. A light touch would leave a mark. Shang Junlin had once imprinted plum blossoms on it, but now, the flowers had disappeared without a trace. His fingers brushed past it, and through a thin handkerchief, Shang Junlin could feel the gentle touch of his skin. After recovering a little, Xinyu crossed her arms on the edge of the bathtub and rested her head on her arms. I'm afraid that I'm the only person in the world who can make your majesty personally bathe. The water is getting cold. Do you want to continue adding hot water or come out? Shang Junlin put the back of his hand on Xinyu's forehead. Her body temperature was normal. I don't want to bathe. Xinyu felt that she would faint again if she was steamed for a while. Shang Junlin carried her out of the bathtub, dried her, put on a clean inner garment, and wrapped her in the fox fur coat. Xinyu stopped Shang Junlin from putting her on the bed. I don't want to lie on the bed anymore. Your Majesty, please help me put on an outer garment. I want to go out for a walk. Shang Junlin paused for a moment. Okay. After taking a bath and changing into a clean set of clothes, Xinyu felt much more comfortable. Shang Junlin ordered the palace servants to remove the hot water. Mushi came in with the warm medicine. Xinyu drank it in one gulp. Shang Junlin fed him the candied fruit. I seem to be fine. I don't need Imperial Physician Gu to come again. Xinyu carefully felt her body. There were no symptoms of discomfort. Shang Junlin was still worried. Let Imperial Physician Gu take a look. Your Majesty, Imperial Physician Gu is here. Eunuch Meng's voice sounded outside the room. Since Imperial Physician Gu was here, Xinyu did not refuse anymore. Eunuch Meng hinted at Imperial Physician Gu on the way. When he entered the room and saw Xinyu, he knew that it was not the case. After carefully checking her pulse, he gradually frowned. Xinyu originally thought that she just had a nightmare and was fine. But seeing Imperial Physician Gu's expression, it seemed that was not the case. Shang Junlin's heart sank. He asked directly, is there something wrong with your body? Something is wrong with your pulse. Imperial Physician Gu pondered for a moment. Has there been any abnormalities in your body during this time? Xinyu thought carefully and replied, I just had a nightmare. Nothing else. Your pulse has some changes compared to before. I still need to study it. For the time being, there won't be any problems. I will prescribe a sedative medicine. Your Majesty still needs to rest well. If you continue to be troubled by nightmares, it will not be good for your body. Imperial Physician Gu prescribed the medicine and handed it to the palace servants. I need to study your condition more. I will come to check your pulse every day for the next few days. Is it convenient for you? Do as Imperial Physician Gu says. Before Xinyu could answer, Shang Junlin spoke first. Xinyu wanted to say that there was no need to go through so much trouble. But when he saw the worry in Shang Junlin's eyes, he swallowed the words that were on the tip of his tongue. It was still raining outside. Xinyu wanted to walk outside. Shang Junlin held an umbrella with one hand and held his hand with the other as they strolled in the rain. A gentle breeze blew, bringing with it a burst of coolness. In the real world, there was no dull feeling like in the dream. Even walking in the rain gave them a different feeling. The sudden spring rain caught many people off guard. After all, no one expected that it would suddenly rain when the sun was shining brightly in the morning. Jiang Huiqing looked at the rain falling outside the window. He tugged at He Qingyu's sleeve. Brother Qingyu, our books won't get wet, right? He decided to hang out the books because the weather was good today. Who would have thought that it would rain when they just arrived at the newly opened Study Sibao store? At that time, Jiang Huiqing wanted to turn around and go back. However, He Qingyu stopped him and said that the servants at home would take the books back. Even if he went back now, there was nothing he could do. Only then did he give up the idea. It won't happen. Even though he didn't know how many times he had asked, He Qingyu still replied with a good temper. I know you treasure those books. I'll let someone take care of them. In fact, things like hanging out the books could have been done by the servants. However, Jiang Huiqing refused and insisted on doing it himself. He Qingyu couldn't persuade him, and had to let him do it. I'm almost done choosing. Brother Qingyu, how about you? It had to be said that the store He Qingyu recommended was really good. The brushes, ink, paper, and inkstone were all of high quality and the prices weren't too expensive. Jiang Huiqing bought more than he expected. Let's wait for the rain to lessen before going back. Jiang Huiqing looked at the rain outside and nodded. There was a designated resting area in the store. The two of them sat for a while and waited for the rain to lessen before leaving. They didn't bring an umbrella. They borrowed it from the owner and only had one. Fortunately, the umbrella was big enough to cover the two of them. He Qingyu held the umbrella in one hand and the things he bought in the other. Seeing that Jiang Huiqing was some distance away from him, he said, "Huiqing, stay closer to me. Otherwise, you'll get wet." Jiang Huiqing looked up and saw that the umbrella above his head was leaning towards him. He Qingyu, who was holding the umbrella, had his shoulder wet. He hurriedly leaned towards him. "Brother Qingyu, why didn't you say so earlier? Look at your shoulder. It's wet." "It's okay. You didn't get wet, did you?" He Qingyu laughed softly. "You're still laughing. Forget it. I'll lean closer to you. Don't move the umbrella over my head again." Looking at the young man who was leaning against him, He Qingyu whispered, "Okay." The conversation between the two of them gradually disappeared in the curtain of rain. After the heavy rain, the world looked brand new. Everything seemed to have been washed. Shen Yu and Shang Junlin strolled in the rain and felt that the rain was getting lighter. Shen Yu's mood, which was affected by the nightmare, gradually recovered. Thinking of the man who was silently accompanying him, Shen Yu stopped. "What's wrong?" Shang Junlin also stopped. Shen Yu looked at Shang Junlin. The man had similar facial features to the King of Yu in his dream, who was wearing the same imperial robe. However, the feeling he gave was completely different. In the hazy rain, Shang Junlin heard the young man's voice clearly. He said, "Your Majesty, do you want to kiss?" Chapter 86. Shang Junlin's gaze suddenly became aggressive. He didn't answer. Instead, he lowered his head and captured the young man's lips. It tasted as sweet as he remembered. The man sucked on Shen Yu's lips with a little force. His breath was heavy. He held one hand behind Shen Yu's head, not giving him any chance to regret. The kiss was long and powerful. Shen Yu didn't want to fall behind. He welcomed it and danced with it. He didn't know when his hands had tightly grasped the man's clothes. His body leaned back slightly, and his head was forced to raise to withstand the man's increasingly fierce attacks. Shen Yu didn't close his eyes. He could see the man's enlarged face, and through the corner he could see the umbrella above his head. The patterns on the umbrella seemed to be spinning. Everything in front of him became strange and variegated. The force on his lips was getting stronger and stronger. Shen Yu slowly closed his eyes and took the initiative to wrap his arms around the man's strong waist. Under the hazy drizzle, a green umbrella covered the beautiful scenery. Eunuch Meng and Mushi were far behind them. They could only see the two people closely together, and the umbrella firmly covering them. The kiss lasted for an unknown period of time. Shen Yu was slowly released. The man didn't withdraw. His breath was close to Shen Yu's lips. Shen Yu woke up from the strange and variegated illusion. He didn't push Shang Junlin away. Their breaths were intertwined. An umbrella separated them from the outside world. At this moment, he didn't have to think about anything. He didn't care about anything. There was only him and Shang Junlin left in the world. He could let himself be temporarily immersed in this small world. The man's breath drifted on Shen Yu's face. As the man's kisses fell little by little with a sense of comfort, Shen Yu's heart gradually calmed down. The continuous rain couldn't extinguish the affection under the umbrella. In the end, Shang Junlin was worried that Shen Yu would catch a cold and took the initiative to go back to the room. Shen Yu had stayed outside for long enough. He didn't object. The rain stopped and the sun hung high in the sky again. Shen Yu raised his hand to cover his eyes. This weather is really interesting. He remembered that before he took a nap, the sun was also high in the sky. After the rain, the sun had returned, as if the sun had also rested for a while in the afternoon. Shang Junlin closed the umbrella and handed it to Eunuch Meng behind him. He reached out to touch Shen Yu's clothes and felt relieved when he saw that they were not wet. "Your Majesty is wet." Although the black clothes were not obvious, Shen Yu could still see that the man's shoulder was wet. "Your Majesty, please change your clothes first." Eunuch Meng hurriedly brought some clean clothes over. Shang Junlin saw the concern in Shen Yu's eyes. He swallowed the words of rejection that were on the tip of his tongue, and went to the side to change his clothes. Shang Junlin had changed his clothes and came out. He hugged Shen Yu and asked with a smile, were you concerned about us just now? It's not good if your majesty catches a cold because of me. Shen Yu leaned back and felt the constant heat from the man's body. She narrowed her eyes. The two talked for a while. Eunuch Meng walked in and said in a low voice, Your Majesty, Official Feng and Official Duan request to see you. The battle between the aristocratic families and the imperial power should come to an end. Your Majesty, please go ahead. I'll read a book by myself. Shen Yu had recovered and was not as dependent on Shang Junlin as a young bird that was left alone. Shang Junlin saw that he was not reluctant and said, I'll go for a while. I'll come back to accompany you when I'm done. The sky had completely cleared up. The heavy rain just now was like a dream. Thinking of the young man who took the initiative to be enthusiastic in the rain and fog, Shang Junlin was in a good mood and raised the corners of his lips. When they arrived at the imperial study, Shang Junlin returned to his usual unapproachable appearance. Eunuch Meng saw this change and cried out in his heart that there was only one noble lord who could soften his majesty's heart. Official Feng and Official Duan knew that since they took the initiative to look for Shang Junlin, it meant that the aristocratic families were willing to lower their heads. They had lost this confrontation. Why did you come to see me? Shang Junlin sat on the high seat and looked down at the two old cabinet ministers. The two knelt down and saluted. After they got up, they said, We came for the matter of the Qianglin banquet. You know about it too? Shang Junlin supported his forehead with one hand. Tell me, how do you plan to deal with it? After Yi Jiaming and the others were taken away, they were locked up in solitary confinement, and no one was allowed to visit them. Shang Junlin also did not give orders on how to deal with them. The aristocratic families could not sit still, and had to ask the two cabinet ministers to come forward. Official Feng and Official Duan also knew that this matter could be big or small. It all depended on Shang Junlin's decision. They could not understand Shang Junlin's thoughts, and did not know where to start. Your Majesty, what those juniors did was indeed inappropriate. We also investigated and found that they did not do anything to anyone. It was just that there was some conflict between the two parties. What they were most thankful for now was that these people had not really done anything. No matter what they said or what plan they had, as long as it was not implemented, there was still room to turn things around. Shang Junlin did not interrupt the two of them and let them finish speaking. He said, So according to you, I am making a mountain out of a molehill? This subject does not dare. This subject knows that these juniors' actions were inappropriate. However, when we meet in the imperial court in the future, the misunderstanding must be resolved. Your Majesty, why not give them a chance to resolve the misunderstanding face to face? If everyone is like this, how can the imperial court establish its prestige? I believe that the two of you do not want to see the day when you are disrespected, right? The more Shang Junlin remained silent, the heavier the stone in Official Feng and Official Duan's hearts became. Although they had guessed before coming, they still wanted to struggle until the last moment. The conversation lasted for a full 4 hours. When Official Feng and Official Duan came out of the imperial study, the sky was already dark. The two of them looked at each other and saw the bitterness in each other's eyes. In the end, Shang Junlin was out of their control and became an emperor that they could not easily shake. The two of them did not return to the residence directly. Instead, they went to the place where they usually gathered. Some words could only be said in private. In the end, we underestimated him. From the beginning, we should have known that some people are destined to be uncontrollable. Official Feng sighed deeply. Official Duan frowned. But at that time, other than this one, we had no other choice. The King of Yu's foundation was too shallow, and was no match for him at all. Not to mention the other princes, those who had the strength to fight were all gone. The remaining princes were even worse than the King of Yu. Official Feng. What should we do now? Official Duan. What else can we do? The words have already been said, so we can only follow his wishes. However, there is no need to worry. We are not the only ones who are not willing to let a woman enter the imperial court as an official. Let's wait and see. There are so many people in the world. There will only be more and more who will oppose it. How could Xin Yu and Shang Junlin not think about the problem that they were thinking about? A woman entering the imperial court as an official was a shocking matter for the Great Huan dynasty. Only a few people would accept it. However, some things could not be given up just because there were not many people who would accept it. The process of starting from scratch was difficult. Since ancient times, there was no exception. From the moment they made a decision, they were prepared to face all kinds of doubts. After Jiang Huiqing and He Qingyu returned to the residence, just as He Qingyu had said, the servants were nimble and his treasured books were not drenched. After tidying up the books, Jiang Huiqing took out the rice paper, brush, and ink that he had bought today. Thinking of what he had heard in the shop and this encounter, he picked up the brush. By the time he reacted, he had already written a few pages of paper. Jiang Huiqing stared at the words on the paper and held his forehead. Since he had already written it, he might as well send it over. Xin Yu leaned on the soft couch and was lost in thought. He thought of something and called Mushi. Last time, you said that Xin Yu agreed. What has she been doing recently? She has recently developed a lot of new things that the imperial concubine likes very much. She even sent some to the palace. Does young master want to take a look? Bring it over and let me see. Mushi went out and gave an order. Not long after, the palace servants came in with a few things. Miss Xin Yu said that this is a soap used to clean your hands. Mushi picked up a square object from a wooden box and introduced it to Xin Yu. Xin Yu took it over. There was a faint fragrance on it, and it smelled very good. Mushi introduced some other items, all of which were daily necessities that were convenient for living. Let's go to the imperial concubine's palace to take a look. Xin Yu got up. Shang Junlin was busy with official business. He had nothing to do in Yuzhong Palace, so he might as well walk around. The palace where the imperial concubine lived was some distance away from Yuzhong Palace. Unlike the bustling Yuzhong Palace, this palace reflected the word simple and elegant, from inside to outside. The imperial concubine, who had received the news, came out with the palace servants to welcome them. After greeting them, the imperial concubine led them into the main hall. I came here on a whim. Sorry to disturb you, imperial concubine. Xin Yu looked at the woman with simple and elegant makeup. The imperial concubine was in her 40s and had taken good care of herself. There were not many traces of age on her face. Perhaps it was because of her temperament that she gave off a very peaceful feeling. It was such a gentle and harmless woman who had lived peacefully in the previous emperor's harem until today. Not at all, not at all. Are you here for Xin Yu? The imperial concubine called Xin Yu over. Yes, I saw the things sent to Yuzhong Palace and felt that they were very novel, so I came to take a look. Xin Yu did not hide his true intentions. Are you talking about the things Xin Yu made? Xin Yu likes to make novel things since she came to my palace. It's her good fortune to be valued by you and His Majesty. The imperial concubine's tone was full of protectiveness for Xin Yu. Don't worry, imperial concubine. She made those things so she will get what she deserves. Xin Yu had always been fair in his rewards and punishments. He would not disdain to take other people's credit. Xin Yu took out the things she had prepared in advance and handed them to Xin Yu. These things were sorted out according to what she knew in her previous life. She was not sure what was useful and what was not, so she simply wrote them down and handed them to Xin Yu to decide. Xin Yu did not stay for long. He took the things and said a few words to the imperial concubine before leaving. After returning to Yuzhong Palace, Xin Yu looked through the things Xin Yu had sorted out. They were different from what he remembered in his previous life. Xin Yu had written things that were convenient for daily life, especially for women. As for how to use these things, he had to discuss with Shang Junlin. Just as he was thinking, he saw Shang Junlin walk in. What is you looking at? Shang Junlin walked to Xin Yu and asked. Looking at the things Xin Yu sorted out. Xin Yu leaned over and made room for Shang Junlin. Shang Junlin leaned over and hugged Xin Yu from behind. He looked at the contents of the paper beside Xin Yu's hand and said, Is this the reason why you treat Xin Yu differently? Doesn't your majesty think that these things are very useful? Xin Yu asked. Shang Junlin lifted a strand of Xin Yu's hair and said, They are very useful. But how did you know that Xin Yu could give these things? Chapter 87. Your Majesty, just treat this as a little secret of mine. Xin Yu raised his head and looked at Shang Junlin from head to toe. A secret. Just like any other secret that your Majesty has not delved into before. You also knows that he has hidden many things from Zhen. Shang Junlin lowered his head and kissed Xin Yu's forehead. He said dotingly, All right, Zhen will not delve into it. Zhen will wait for the day when you are willing to tell Zhen in person. Xin Yu had already been marked as his. He had enough time to wait for Xin Yu to take the initiative to open his heart. Shang Junlin sat down next to Xin Yu and carefully read the contents. Even De Huan doesn't have these things. Is it difficult to make them? It's not difficult. Xin Yu gave them to me together with some recipes. It's just that these things are not easy for the imperial court to promote. Xin Yu took out another stack of paper. On it was a detailed production process written by Xin Yu. You can handle these things. If you lack people or anything else, just tell Zhen directly. You have given Zhen enough things. Just keep these things in your hands. Shang Junlin hugged Xin Yu's waist. He thought of the things that Xin Yu had taken out before. Compared to those things, the things that Xin Yu gave were more suitable for personal use. That's fine, Xin Yu didn't refuse. After all, what's mine is also your Majesty's. Most of the things that Xin Yu gave were things that would be popular with women. For example, lipstick, soap, face coverings. Xin Yu sorted these things out and found something that interested him. Alcohol. A certain amount of alcohol could be used to disinfect. Xin Yu remembered that the book said that in the world before Xin Qingran's time travel, medical skills were very advanced. Xin Qingran himself also said that many diseases that could kill people in this dynasty could be easily cured in his time. Your Majesty, this thing may be used in the army. Xin Yu took out the recipe for alcohol. If the alcohol mentioned here can be made, it can reduce many unnecessary casualties on the battlefield. Shang Junlin put down the memorial in his hand and came over with interest. Alcohol? Is it alcohol? Alcohol has this kind of effect? It's a kind of alcohol, but it's not the kind we usually drink. The production method is written here. Your Majesty, take a look. Shang Junlin handed the recipe to Shang Junlin. Shang Junlin looked at the 2 lines and frowned slightly. It was written in detail, but there were some words he had never heard of before. For example, distillation, purification, dilution. Your Majesty, do you want to summon Xin Yu and ask her about it? You also doesn't know about this? Your Majesty, do you really think I'm omnipotent? Xin Yu's eyebrows curved. I also don't understand these things. Xin Yu thought that Xin Yu was also a time traveler like her, so she directly wrote according to the words of her previous life. If she didn't have a part of the original owner's memory, knew how to write De Huan characters, and was afraid that writing modern simplified characters would cause trouble, she wouldn't use De Huan characters to write these things. Although the content wasn't much, she still stumbled a few days to finish writing. Thanks to her previous life, she loved to read novels. She could more or less remember some of the necessary skills for time travel. After giving the things to Xin Yu was very nervous. She didn't know if these things were useful to Xin Yu. If Xin Yu felt that they weren't useful, what should she do? Fortunately, she didn't have to wait long before Yuzhang Palace sent someone to summon her. The little eunuch leading the way was still the same one, and his attitude towards her was much warmer. Xin Yu's heart calmed down a little. The little eunuch led her to the main hall, and quietly retreated. Xin Yu composed herself and greeted Xin Yu and Shang Junlin. No need to be so polite. If Xin Yu was willing, he could give people a very amiable feeling. Today, I called you to ask you about alcohol. Xin Yu guessed a little. She heard a lot about the current emperor from Imperial concubine Dowager, and knew that he had fought on the battlefield. She also thought about it before writing in alcohol. Although it was easy to make medical alcohol in modern times, it was because modern times had all kinds of precision instruments. De Huan didn't have anything. To make alcohol, the corresponding equipment must be made first. Do you have any ideas about purification and dilution? Actually, we can directly use Baijiu to purify the alcohol we want, but the premise is that we need to know the alcohol content of the Baijiu. I'm not sure what the alcohol content of the alcohol here is, so we can only choose another method. First, we need to get pure alcohol, then we need to dilute it with water. There were many words that didn't belong to Dahuan. Shenyu lowered his eyes. Can you make it? If there is the corresponding equipment, I can. Shenyu knew this because there was a time when she was obsessed with reading novels. She always imagined that one day she could travel through time, and learned a lot of things that were easy to learn. For example, making soap, perfume, and so on. When it came to perfume, alcohol was needed. Describe in detail what you need. Zheng will have someone make it for you, Shang Junlin said in a deep voice. Shenyu searched through the memories of the original owner, and found that Dahuan already had glass, but it was still far from the kind she wanted. Replying to your majesty, what this servant wants needs to be made with colored glass, but it will be different from the colored glass on the market now. It needs to be transparent. This servant knows how to make transparent colored glass, so I will write it down. Shenyu tried hard to recall the memories in her mind. Oh right, about the alcohol that this servant wants. It must be strictly mixed in proportion to reduce the effect of wound infection. Zhen understands. The palace servant brought a pen and paper, and led Shenyu to the side hall. Your Majesty, why don't you set up an independent department to research these novel things? We can't let the Ministry of Works do everything. The independent department will be directly under your Majesty, and won't be interfered with by any forces. After all, the Ministry of Works belonged to Dahuan. There were many people there, so it was indeed inconvenient to put some things there to research. Shang Junlin thought for a moment and said, Ayu's words make sense. Shenyu went to the side hall, and wrote down all the ideas she could think of. She also drew simple diagrams of the beakers and distillation bottles, made of transparent glass. After finishing everything, Shenyu looked at the results of her hard work for half a day. She sighed in her heart. I didn't expect that I would really encounter time travel. The things that I learned because of my unspeakable thoughts and was scolded for being useless could really be used one day. When Shenyu came out with the things, she only saw Shenyu. The young man in blue stood by the window with his back to her. His temperament was exactly the same as the young master of an ancient aristocratic family that Shenyu imagined. Did he really time travel from the modern era like her? Shenyu couldn't help but think. Shenyu turned around and saw the doubts in Shenyu's eyes. He said, Do you have something to ask me? There were palace servants in the room, and Shenyu was more cautious than before. She didn't want to talk about time travel directly. She only asked vaguely, Why is His Highness willing to give this opportunity to me? Shenyu knew that she would be suspicious, so he had already thought of an excuse. My health wasn't good in the past, so I rarely went out. My family was strict and didn't let me do many things. If I knew what you said, I would have taken it out long ago. After saying this, Shenyu sighed lightly. Shenyu thought that she had touched his sore spot. She bit her lips and said, I'm sorry. There's nothing to apologize for. Shenyu changed the topic. Do you want to take a look at the newly built cement road? Can I go? Shenyu certainly wanted to. Not to mention other things. Just the fact that she could leave the palace was already very tempting to her. Seeing the hidden expectation in Shenyu's eyes, Shenyu slightly curved his lips. Of course you can. When I arrange it, I will send someone to call you to Consort Dowager. Then can I walk around the other places in the capital? Shenyu's mind was full of thoughts about leaving the palace. How could she still remember her doubts about Shenyu? Besides, the cement road in Dahuan had already been built. She didn't need to doubt this and that. Wasn't Shenyu willing to help her because they came from the same place? Thinking of this, Shenyu felt a little ashamed of her doubts. She secretly made up her mind to do something useful as soon as possible to repay Shenyu's kindness. Yes, I will give you free time. If you are worried that you are not familiar with the capital, I can also let Mushi accompany you to walk around. Yes. Shenyu's happiness was beyond words. After returning to Consort Dowager's palace, Consort Dowager saw it at a glance. Consort Dowager called her. What made you so happy? Guijun promised to take me out of the palace. I haven't had a good look at the capital yet. Xinyu's eyes were full of yearning. What would the place that carried her second life look like? Out of the palace. Consort Dowager's eyes were in a trance for a moment. It's good to go out and have a look. Feng Rong, give Xinyu some money. Go out and have fun. But remember not to cause trouble for Guijun. Consort Dowager didn't suspect anything. There were many palace maids in the palace who entered the palace at a young age. They came from all over Dahuan, and might not even have seen the entire capital. It was normal for them to yearn for the outside. I will. Xinyu nodded solemnly. The women's products that Xinyu gave were not difficult to make. Xinyu had many shops under his control. After the finished products were made, they could be sold in the shops. Your Majesty, has Miss Feng's official position been decided today? This matter had been delayed for more than 10 days. Today was the deadline. Shang Junlin wanted Feng Jiai to enter the Hanlin Academy through the normal procedures, but the aristocratic families refused. Most of the official positions that they proposed were not important. Their meaning was obvious. They just needed to find an unimportant position to support her. It's been decided. Just like in previous years, she will enter the Hanlin Academy with Jiang Huiqing and He Qingyu. Shang Junlin put down the pen in his hand and rubbed his eyebrows. As for the aristocratic families like the Yi family, in view of the fact that this was a mistake made by the younger generation, we will only punish the person who made the mistake. What about Yi Jianming? Xinyu walked behind Shang Junlin and massaged his temples. He personally experienced how much thought Shang Junlin had put into this matter. Cancel the results this time as a warning to others. This was the result after the aristocratic families had to take a step back. It seems that Your Majesty has won this time. After so long, the dust has finally settled. Congratulations, Your Majesty. Although there were still many problems to face in the future, at least the first step was successfully taken. As for Feng Jiai's future development, it all depended on her. How does you plan to congratulate me? Shang Junlin grabbed Xinyu's hand and pulled him in front of him. He hugged him on his lap and intimately whispered in his ear. Speaking of which, this suggestion was made by you. Shouldn't there be a reward for fulfilling a Yu's wish? Chapter 88. Xinyu looked at Shang Junlin speechlessly. He found that Shang Junlin liked to ask for rewards from him more and more. No, it was more accurate to say that he was asking for rewards than being intimate. Shang Junlin didn't really want anything. He just wanted Xinyu to take the initiative. Xinyu let go of Shang Junlin's hand on his forehead and slowly moved it away. Your Majesty, what reward do you want? You will take the initiative to kiss me, Shang Junlin said reservedly. Of course, what he really wanted was more than just a kiss. But he also knew that he couldn't tease Xinyu too much. Otherwise he wouldn't get anything. Or you will let me kiss you. Your Majesty, you want to do more than that, right? Xinyu glanced at him. He knew that this would be the result. Of course, if a Yu is willing to do more, I will be very happy. Shang Junlin's hand on Xinyu's waist slid down meaningfully. Xinyu held down the man's hand that kept moving down. It's clearly Your Majesty's business. Why does it seem like you're doing it for me? Doesn't you miss you? Shang Junlin pulled the person who was about to move out of his arms back. He put his head on Xinyu's shoulder and asked in a hoarse voice. I think about you all the time. Will you miss me? Your Majesty. Xinyu's breath was unstable. Let go of me. You also likes. The rest of the voice disappeared in the kiss. The candlelight flickered and two intertwined figures were reflected on the ground. Occasionally, a few murmurs could be heard and disappeared in midair. In the end, Shang Junlin was satisfied that he got the reward he wanted. Xinyu was half lying on the bed and was about to fall asleep. It was already late. Xinyu had been taking calming pills all this time. It was already past his bedtime, and he was extremely sleepy. Shang Junlin did not bother him anymore. He called for hot water and washed Xinyu. Then he carried him to the bed and planted a kiss on his forehead. Sleep. Your Majesty, aren't you going to sleep now? Xinyu grabbed the sleeve of the person who was about to leave. Zhen will come after changing my clothes. You sleep first, Shang Junlin coaxed gently. Shen Yu vaguely realized that Shang Junlin was indeed wearing court attire. He slowly let go of his hand and stared at Shang Junlin while resisting the drowsiness. Shang Junlin's heart softened. He quickly changed his clothes, lifted the quilt, and held Shen Yu in his arms. He patted him on the back and said, "Sleep." Yes. His eyelids became heavier and heavier. Shen Yu finally couldn't resist and closed his eyes, falling into a deep sleep. Shang Junlin stared at the peaceful sleeping face of the person in his arms. His eyes were filled with darkness. He thought of what Imperial Physician Gu said to him during the day. Shen Yu's illness seemed to be a deficiency disease, but in fact there was something else. In other words, Shen Yu's current physical condition was likely caused by someone. Shang Junlin's heart was filled with anger. Deficiency disease was innate and could not be changed. But he never thought that it was caused by someone. The suffering that his Yu had suffered since she was young might have been caused by someone. As long as he thought of this, he couldn't stop the violence in his heart. Shen Yu seemed to feel that Shang Junlin's breath was not right. He moved uneasily in the man's arms. Shang Junlin restrained his breath, pulled the person into his arms, and kissed the forehead of the person in his arms to comfort him. Shen Yu found a comfortable position and didn't move. It was a dreamless night. When he woke up, the sky was already bright. There was no familiar breath around him. He thought that the person had gone to court. He rubbed the pillow and slowly sat up. "Young master, are you awake?" Mu Shi, who had been waiting outside, heard the noise and asked. "Yes." Hearing the answer, Mu Shi came in with clean clothes and helped Shen Yu to dress. Shen Yu lowered his head and tidied up his sleeves. This was the best sleep he had ever had since he dreamed of Prince Yu. Thinking about the difference from the previous days, it seemed that there was only one thing. Could it be that doing that thing could really help him sleep? Shen Yu couldn't help but wonder. After washing up, Mu Shi asked the small kitchen to serve breakfast. It was all Shen Yu's favorite dishes. Perhaps because he had enough sleep, Shen Yu ate half a bowl more than usual. After breakfast, Imperial Physician Gu came to check his pulse. Because of the abnormal pulse last time, Imperial Physician Gu came almost every day recently. "Your pulse has returned to normal. Your Highness is fine." Imperial Physician Gu remembered Shang Junlin's instructions. He didn't reveal anything about Shen Yu's condition. Shen Yu thought of today's abnormality and decided to ask a professional. "Imperial Physician Gu, compared to a few days ago, I slept exceptionally well last night. I want to ask, is it because of the sedative medicine or something else? Logically speaking, the prescription I prescribed should take effect on the day you take the medicine. Did your Highness do anything last night or before that? Is there something different?" Imperial Physician Gu was very confident about the medicine he prescribed. "There's nothing different. The only difference is that I fooled around with His Majesty." Imperial Physician Gu, do you think there is any connection between the two? When Shen Yu's voice fell, Mu Shi blushed. She knew that His Majesty asked for hot water last night. When His Majesty left this morning, he specifically told them not to disturb His Highness's rest. After being in the palace for several months, Mu Shi was now very clear about what this meant. Imperial Physician Gu was stunned for a moment, and then he realized what Shen Yu meant by fooling around. After a moment of contemplation, he said, "It may be partly because after the energy is released, people will be more tired and more likely to fall into a deep sleep. So there is such a saying." Shen Yu blinked. It seemed that Shang Junlin made fun of him last night by a fluke. Imperial Physician Gu adjusted the original prescription according to Shen Yu's pulse before leaving. After walking out of Yuzhang Palace for a while, Eunuch Meng, who had been waiting here for a long time, greeted him. "His Majesty has been waiting for a long time. Imperial Physician Gu, please follow me." Imperial Physician Gu was used to being called away by the Emperor when he left Yuzhang Palace. He tidied up his clothes and followed Eunuch Meng to see Shang Junlin. "How is His Highness's condition?" Seeing Imperial Physician Gu, Shang Junlin raised his head from a pile of waiting memorials. "Replying to your Majesty, His Highness's condition is very good, and his pulse has returned to normal. You said last time that His Highness's pulse is strange. Have you found out the reason?" Shang Junlin was very concerned about the conjecture that Imperial Physician Gu once raised about Xin Yu's condition. Imperial Physician Gu, the change is too subtle. If I am not very familiar with His Highness's pulse, I may not be able to detect the change. This time, I noticed that His Highness's pulse has returned to normal little by little. Forgive me for not being good enough. I can't determine the reason for this change for the time being. Shang Junlin, what you said last time was not a natural deficiency. Imperial Physician Gu. It's just my conjecture. If it's really not a natural deficiency, then it's easy to explain. There are very few cases of natural deficiency that can be cured. If there is a hidden reason, I will have more confidence to cure His Highness if I find the cause. Shang Junlin, I'll have to trouble Imperial Physician Gu with this matter. This is my duty. Your Majesty doesn't need to thank me. Imperial Physician Gu remembered what Xin Yu said just now and hesitated. Today His Highness asked some questions, but I haven't gotten the answer yet. Please pay more attention. After which, he recounted the conversation he had with Shen Yu in Yuzhong Palace. Shang Junlin, I've been worried that this matter will hurt a Yu's body, so I didn't dare to do too much. Does Imperial Physician Gu mean that it's appropriate? Imperial Physician Gu, His Highness's body is recuperating well. As long as it's not too much, there won't be any problems. Shang Junlin, the ointment that Imperial Physician Gu gave to a Yu last time is good. You can make more. Imperial Physician Gu. This subject accepts the decree. Shang Junlin was in a good mood when he heard that Xin Yu was fine. He rewarded Imperial Physician Gu with a bunch of things, and asked Eunuch Meng to send him back. Imperial Physician Gu was sent back to the Gu residence by a carriage from the palace. There was a row of gifts behind the carriage, and the people on the street all stopped to watch. Hearing the commotion outside, Gu Huai walked out and saw Imperial Physician Gu coming down from the palace's specially made carriage. There were several carriages behind the carriage. It's a gift from His Majesty. Imperial Physician Gu got down from the carriage and replied to Gu Huai. He turned to Eunuch Meng and said, I'll have to trouble Eunuch Meng. It's nothing. Imperial Physician Gu deserves it. After the people from the palace left, Gu Huai helped to organize the gifts and said, Brother, you're so awesome. You received so many gifts. It's all because His Majesty and His Highness are good people. Some of these gifts were given by Shang Junlin, and some were given by Yuzhong Palace. Knowing Imperial Physician Gu's preferences, most of these gifts could be used by him. Is Guijuan's health better? It's no big deal. Imperial Physician Gu rubbed the young man's head. Don't worry, I'll be fine. After organizing the gifts, Imperial Physician Gu took out the ingredients for making ointment. He planned to make more. His Majesty only had Guijun in his harem, so there would be a lot of demand. Speaking of ointment, he learned how to make a living when he first entered the Imperial Academy of Medicine. At that time, Gu Huai was seriously ill and needed all kinds of expensive herbs. In order to cure him, he took a lot of work outside. The boss of the medicine shop that he often went to helped him a lot. When he found out that he was short of money, he told him that he could make money quickly by making ointment. The truth was, the ointment with aphrodisiac effects was very popular. Later, when he was not so short of money, he did not make ointment anymore. The main reason was that he was shy and did not want his children to know that he was making ointment. At that time, he sold the ointment through someone else. The boss of the medicine shop helped him sell the ointment and did not show up the whole time. He made ointment for Shen Yu because Shen Yu's physical condition was special. Since he took over, he had to do his best. His Majesty's needs were high. It was not easy for a man to provide pleasure, and Guijuan's health was not good. If he was often injured because of this, it would have a great impact on his health. Today, His Majesty mentioned it again. Imperial Physician Gu thought of the amount that was sent to Yuzhong Palace last time. It was not a lot, but it was definitely not a small amount. Should he remind His Majesty to let His Majesty rest more? Imperial Physician Gu sighed. He was just a doctor. Why did he have to worry about His Majesty's bedroom matters? He put the boiled ointment into a box to cool down. Imperial Physician Gu took the prepared flower juice and added it. He was so focused on making the ointment that he did not notice that Gu Huai had entered the room. Gu Huai was very interested in everything about Imperial Physician Gu. When he saw the row of transparent ointment, he picked up one of them and walked behind Imperial Physician Gu. "Brother, what is this?" Imperial Physician Gu was startled by the sudden voice and loosened his grip. Fortunately, Gu Huai had sharp eyes and quick hands, and did not let the ointment fall. "Why did you come in?" Imperial Physician Gu composed himself, and turned around to see Gu Huai holding the ointment that he had made halfway. His eyes were full of curiosity. Imperial Physician Gu's face turned red. Chapter 89. How was he going to explain to Gu Huai what the ointment was used for? Imperial Physician Gu took the box from Gu Huai's hands with a red face and put it aside. As if realizing his mistake, Gu Huai lowered his head and said in a low voice, "I'm sorry, brother. I didn't know I couldn't touch it." Imperial Physician Gu was amenable to persuasion but not coercion. Seeing Gu Huai lower his head and admit his mistake, he couldn't blame him. He couldn't help but rub the youth's head. "It's fine. It's just that this ointment is for Guijun. Children shouldn't touch things used by adults." "I'm not a child anymore, brother." Gu Huai sighed in his heart. He was about to turn 18, but Imperial Physician Gu still treated him like a child. It was true that he enjoyed being doted on by Imperial Physician Gu, but he didn't want to be treated like a child forever. He had already grown up and was no longer the child who could only be trampled on. He could also shelter his brother from the wind and rain, and hold up the sky. "I know you've already grown up. All right, go out and play. I'm almost done here." Seeing his firm attitude, Gu Huai didn't want to make Imperial Physician Gu angry and obediently left. However, he was still curious about what Imperial Physician Gu had made, and why his face had turned red when he asked. After Gu Huai left, he called for his subordinate, and described the ointment he saw in detail. He asked, "Do you know what this is?" The subordinate paused and hesitated. "It seems to be used by men to lubricate themselves when they're having fun." After saying that, the subordinate quickly added, "Of course, this is only my wild guess. It might not be the real thing." Gu Huai was silent. When he thought of Imperial Physician Gu's face turning red when he asked about it, how could he not be sure? It was most likely what his subordinate said. When did his brother learn how to make this kind of thing? Based on his brother's proficiency, it clearly wasn't his first time. Gu Huai carefully recalled their interactions over the years, and tried to find clues from his memories. Imperial Physician Gu still didn't know that his secret was about to be exposed. He calmed down and finished the last step. He took out a small jade bottle, and filled it with the ointment. Looking at the ointment, Imperial Physician Gu let out a long sigh of relief. The portion she made this time should be enough to last her for a while. Next time, she should find another place to make it. It would be too embarrassing if Gu Huai saw her making it at home. The finished ointment was quickly delivered to Shang Junlin. Shang Junlin put it away and placed it in the drawer beside the bed. "What is your Majesty doing?" Xinyu had just finished watering the flowers and plants outside. When he walked in, he saw Shang Junlin bending over the bed and doing something. Shang Junlin stood up straight, turned around and walked toward Xinyu. Didn't Imperial Physician Gu almost run out of the cosmetics he sent last time? He sent some more. Did His Majesty squeeze him to do it? Xinyu saw through him. He is a good Imperial physician. Why does His Majesty keep making him do this kind of thing? This is also for a Yu's health. Shang Junlin had his own reasons. Imperial Physician Gu is helping a Yu to nurse her body. Naturally, he has to take care of all aspects. If His Majesty didn't force me to do it, he wouldn't need these things, Xinyu said angrily. Ever since the last time, Shang Junlin always liked to force him to do it. Although he didn't finish it, he was able to satisfy Shang Junlin's craving. All the court officials could feel that the emperor was in a good mood recently. The aristocratic officials thought that Shang Junlin was in a good mood, because he beat them in the matter of women becoming officials. They were unhappy but they couldn't show it. This made them very upset for a while. Other than them, the other officials all hoped that Shang Junlin's good mood could last for a while longer. He Qingyu, Jiang Huiqing, and Feng Jiai had all entered the Hanlin Academy. Even if the others were unhappy, they couldn't say anything now that the matter had been settled. Feng Jiai's essay was circulated among the students. Other than a few people who had a strong prejudice against women, the rest of the students didn't have any doubts about Feng Jiai taking second place in the imperial examinations. Seeing that there was no movement outside, the aristocratic officials were furious. Of course, they wouldn't let the matter rest. They bribed a few students to talk about the disadvantages of women becoming officials. They were attacked by the other students and could only leave the matter unsettled. Luckily, Yu predicted this in advance. Otherwise, there would be trouble. Shang Junlin was holding the secret letter that the hidden dragon guards had just presented to him. He was in a good mood and the corners of his lips curled up. What happened? Xinyu brewed tea for the two of them and pushed one of the cups in front of Shang Junlin. The aristocratic families really sent people to stir up trouble among the students. We prepared in advance and didn't cause any trouble. Take a look. Shang Junlin handed the secret letter to Xinyu. Xinyu opened it and read 10 lines at a glance. They underestimated the power of the poor too much. They also didn't understand what the most important thing in the hearts of these scholars who haven't stepped into the officialdom. They haven't been tainted by the fame and fortune of the officialdom, so their hearts have their own gullies. They also have a lot of ambition. Xinyu had dealt with these people a lot in his previous life. In the eyes of the officialdom, they might be simple and easy to use. However, if you thought that they were stupid and could be manipulated, you would be wrong. When it comes to the matters of the imperial court, it's easy to distort the truth by word of mouth. I have to think of a way to let every place in Dahuan know the exact situation of the imperial court. Xinyu lowered his eyes and pondered. In his previous life, Shang Junlin's reputation had become like that. On one hand, it was because of King Yu and the others. On the other hand, it was because there was a huge gap in information between the imperial court and the local government. There was no way to spread the news of what Shang Junlin had done to the local government. The news that they received was what others wanted them to hear. Is you talking about the imperial court bulletin? Yes, but not all of it. It needs to be more detailed. Not only will the local government know about the various decisions and measures made by the imperial court, but the imperial court will also know about the local government's situation. In his previous life, Xinyu had an information network that covered almost all of Dahuan. However, it was different from the one he proposed today. This idea was inspired by Xinyu. If they could exchange information and reduce the time difference, it would be more beneficial for the imperial court to control the local government. What does you think? Shang Junlin thought deeply for a while, and felt that this method was indeed beneficial. Your Majesty can discuss with the ministers, but you can't squeeze me for everything. Xinyu rested his chin on his hands and looked at Shang Junlin with a smile. Shang Junlin was helpless. Fine, I will discuss with the Prime Minister and the others first. After the discussion comes to a conclusion, you can see if there is anything that can be changed. The Prime Minister and the others are much better than me. Xinyu only cared about the idea and didn't want to worry about how to implement it. The ministers in the imperial court knew enough about Dahuan. With Shang Junlin's supervision, the final method wouldn't be wrong. Shang Junlin saw that he didn't want to participate too much and didn't force him. He was willing to satisfy you no matter what kind of life he wanted to live. Your Majesty, many flowers have bloomed in the imperial garden. Let's go and enjoy the flowers. The thing Xinyu did the most every day when he saw Shang Junlin was reviewing reports. It was rare for the weather to be good recently. In a few days it would be hot. He wanted to take advantage of the weather to walk outside more. Imperial physician Gu also said that you should walk more. Shang Junlin didn't have any objections. He put away the things and took Xinyu out. The evening sun shone on people's bodies, making them feel warm and fuzzy. Xinyu narrowed his eyes in satisfaction. All kinds of flowers bloomed in the imperial garden. Colorful flowers dotted the sea of green, competing with each other in terms of beauty. It was too beautiful to behold. The fragrance of the flowers was carried by the breeze. Xinyu pulled Shang Junlin's sleeve. Your Majesty, How many kinds of flowers are there? Almost all the flowers in Dahuan that can survive in the capital are here. See if there is anything you like. I will ask Meng Chang to bring some to you. Shang Junlin was not interested in flowers and plants. The flowers and plants in the palace had always been taken care of by the palace servants. Xinyu walked and stopped. Occasionally, when he saw something he liked, he would stop for a while. The more fragrant the flowers were, the more it attracted a few butterflies. Don't you know that the flowers here can't be picked? You have already picked a basket of flowers. Who asked you to come here? Shang Junlin frowned when he heard a noise in front of him. Eunuch Meng quickly walked over. This servant will go and take a look. After a while, Eunuch Meng came back. Xinyu came to pick flowers. She was seen by the steward auntie who passed by, and was reprimanded. Xinyu, who was about to leave, stopped. Xinyu? Why did she come to the imperial garden? As he spoke, he walked in the direction of the sound. What happened? The man's majestic voice sounded. The palace servants all knelt down. The slightly older palace servant saluted and said, replying to your majesty, this palace maid may not know the rules here and pick some flowers. This servant has already reprimanded her. She didn't know that Xinyu knew them. She was afraid that she would lose her life because of a small matter, so she subconsciously protected her. Xinyu looked at the palace maid who had just reprimanded her in surprise. She hurriedly bowed her head and admitted her mistake. You can leave first. You stay. Xinyu pointed to Xinyu. The palace maid looked at Xinyu before leaving. She wanted to say something, but was pulled away by Eunuch Meng. Get up. Why did you pick these flowers? Xinyu asked. This servant wanted to make flower cakes for the old imperial concubine. I looked for the best place with flowers and found this place. I didn't notice that the flowers here can't be picked. This servant knows her mistake. I'll forgive you for your first offense. Forget it. Xinyu looked at the basket of flowers beside her and curiously asked, you use flowers to make food directly? Not only flowers. If you are interested in pies made with flowers, this servant will send some to Yuzhong Palace after this servant makes them. Xinyu lowered her head. In fact, she was also in the experimental stage. She wasn't sure if the pies she made would be delicious. Xinyu was in a good mood when she walked around the imperial garden on a whim, and got a new snack. After walking around, she returned to Yuzhong Palace. The small kitchen had already prepared the meal. Shang Junlin said that if anyone could satisfy the noble lord, he would be heavily rewarded. Because of this sentence, the people in the small kitchen tried different ways to make delicious food every day. Xinyu had a good appetite recently. She ate more than when she first came to the palace. The loss of her last illness was finally slowly made up. She also gained some weight. Shang Junlin felt good when he hugged her. Shang Junlin was relieved that she finally recovered a little. After the last illness, Xinyu's appetite greatly decreased. Seeing that she was getting thinner and thinner, Shang Junlin was distressed. However, there was nothing he could do. He could only instruct the small kitchen to be more careful, and think of ways to let Xinyu eat more. Imperial physician Gu didn't recommend eating too much nourishment, such as bird's nest. The body that had been damaged for a long time couldn't bear too much nourishment. It could only be nourished a little. Xinyu also didn't like to eat these nourishing foods. Shang Junlin simply fed her every 10 days. Am I eating more now than before? Will I become fat if I continue to eat like this? At night, Xinyu lay in Shang Junlin's arms. She frowned as she recalled her recent appetite. How is you fat? Shang Junlin held Xinyu's wrist and pinched it. You don't have much meat. Xinyu looked at his wrist. It was a strong contrast with Shang Junlin's. The latter's wrist was strong and strong, while his was white and thin. He didn't have much meat. He turned around and lay face to face in Shang Junlin's arms. As he moved, Shang Junlin's inner garment was pushed aside, revealing half of his chest. Shang Junlin's body was covered with a layer of well-proportioned muscles. It was just right and didn't appear exaggerated. When he wore clothes, it couldn't be seen. When there was no clothes covering, one could see the smooth lines of his muscles. Xinyu didn't have much muscle. Because of his body, his flesh was soft in both lifetimes. He was a little envious of Shang Junlin. However, He didn't know that Shang Junlin loved every part of him. Shin Yu poked Shang Junlin's firm muscles. Your Majesty is still the best. If a Yu likes, you can look and touch as much as you want. Shang Junlin let go of Shin Yu's hand and pressed the hand that was roaming around his body to his chest. His other hand wrapped around Shin Yu's waist. He said meaningfully, Shin loves every part of a Yu's body. Chapter 90. The atmosphere instantly became ambiguous. Shin Yu was on top of Shang Junlin. He looked down at the man lying under him, and an inexplicable emotion flashed through his eyes. Shin Yu pressed her hand on the man's chest. She could feel his steady and powerful heartbeat through her palm. She moved her fingers. Yu, do you want to touch it? Shang Junlin coaxed in a low voice. Without waiting for Shin Yu's answer, he took his hand and explored it bit by bit. Shin Yu pursed his lips, and his fingers curled up slightly. Shin Yu couldn't help but stare at Shang Junlin. Your Majesty's words are like gold. We agreed that we wouldn't do anything today. Shang Junlin didn't intend to do anything, but with the beauty in his arms, he couldn't help but be tempted. When he saw Shin Yu's complaining eyes, he had to give up. Okay, I won't disturb you today. If you're tired, you can rest. Shin Yu looked at him suspiciously. The meaning in his eyes was obvious. It was as if he was asking, why are you so easy to talk to today? Shang Junlin covered his eyes. Don't look at me like that. I'm afraid that I won't be able to control myself. When a man's interest was aroused and he had a sweetheart in his arms, it was difficult to control himself. Since Shang Junlin said that, it seemed that he really didn't intend to do anything. Shin Yu relaxed and fell on the man's body, closing his eyes. He was indeed sleepy. If your Majesty likes it, you can touch it. Before going to sleep, Shin Yu whispered. As soon as his voice fell, Shin Yu felt his waist tighten. The man whispered in his ear, Yu, are you deliberately not letting me sleep? Shin Yu rubbed the man's chest and didn't say anything. Shang Junlin waited for a long time, but only heard the sound of the young man's steady breathing. He looked at the bed curtain above his head and smiled bitterly. He wanted to get up to relieve himself, but Shin Yu was clinging onto him, and frowned every time he moved. Shang Junlin had no choice but to wait until Shin Yu was fast asleep before he slowly got off the bed. Shang Junlin came back with a chill. He was afraid that the chill would spread to Shin Yu, so he didn't immediately lie down on the bed. Instead, he sat on the edge of the bed and traced the young man's facial features with his fingers. I really don't know if you did it on purpose or not. Even if he did it on purpose, he couldn't do anything to Shin Yu. Shin Yu had a good night's sleep. When she woke up the next day, she found herself firmly held in someone's arms. The familiar cold scent of the man lingered at the tip of her nose, and her Shin Yu moved. Yu is awake? The man's deep voice came from the top of her head. Shin Yu softly said, Oh. Shin Yu, who had just woken up, was still a little confused and slow to react to everything. She didn't even feel the man's hand reaching into her clothes. Shang Junlin carelessly stroked Shin Yu's warm skin under his palm. It was rare to see such an obedient and soft side of Shin Yu. He deeply felt that he had missed a lot because of the morning court. Shin Yu half opened her eyes for a while, and her thoughts came back little by little. Why didn't His Majesty go to the morning court today? I wanted to stay with you today. Shin Yu propped herself up and looked at the sky outside. There was no sunlight and it was very dark, so the entire bedchamber was dusky. Is it raining outside? It rained for a while, but it has stopped now. Shang Junlin pressed her back into his arms and wrapped her in the quilt. It's a little cold today, don't catch a cold. Shang Junlin actually went to the morning court, but when he saw that the weather was not right, he was worried about Shin Yu, who was alone in Yuzhang Palace, so he hurriedly finished the morning court and came back to accompany him. He still had lingering fears about Shin Yu's nightmare last time. He thought that if Shin Yu had a nightmare this time, at least he would be by his side. Shin Yu was in a daze for a while. When she was completely awake, she got out of bed. Shang Junlin didn't leave Yuzhang Palace for the whole day. During the time, there were ministers who asked to see him, but he refused. Shin Yu handed the prescription given by Shin Yu to his subordinates. Not long after, They made the finished product and sent the news through Mushi. So fast. Xinyu was surprised. This servant was also surprised. They even sent the finished product. Mushi held a small box and opened it for Xinyu to see. The things in the box were smaller than those made by Xinyu, but they were made in various shapes. They looked more delicate and pleasant. At first glance, it was obvious that the women would like them. Like this, Xinyu picked up one of them. How many can you make in a day? A skilled worker can make about 20 to 30. Xinyu played with the small wooden box in his hand. There were enough people in the manor for the time being, so they could put it in the shop to test the water first. Let them make a batch first. They don't need too many. Put them in the shop in the north of the city to sell. Only a certain amount will be sold every day. It's first come, first served. Let me think about the rest. Yes. The things made in the manor were first sent to Xinyu. Xinyu picked some that could be used. The rest that were suitable for women were given to the palace maids in Yuzhong Palace. Some were sent to the palace of concubine dowager. Did you go to the jewelry shop in the north of the city? They recently launched some new products. Not only do they look pleasant, but they also work well. Are you talking about soap in various shapes? I asked my brother to buy one for me. It's really good to use it to wash my hands. It smells good after washing. There's also their new lipstick. Look, I used it today. Doesn't it look better than the previous one? Wow, it's true. This color suits you very well. I think so too. Their lipstick has many colors. I have decided to buy it there in the future. Considering some problems, Xinyu only let the shop sell lipstick and soap to the outside for the time being. These two things were relatively simple to make. Young master, Mushi came in with the account book. Many customers want to sell more. The shopkeeper wrote a letter to ask if we should increase the daily sales. Ask them if they can do it. If they can, we can increase it appropriately. Xinyu opened the account book and looked at it. To be honest, the results were far beyond his expectations. In just a few days, the profit of the soap and lipstick was more than the sum of the other products. The business of this shop had not been very good. With the two new products, soap and lipstick, it became the most popular jewelry shop among women. I didn't expect it to sell so well at such a price. Xinyu sighed. Considering the uniqueness of the products and the difficulty of making them, Xinyu set the price for these two products not cheap. Originally, he limited the daily sales because he was afraid that they would not be able to sell out. Unexpectedly, the opposite happened. Not to mention the young ladies outside, there are also many people in the palace who want to buy some back. Young master, don't underestimate the purchasing power of women, Mushi said with a smile. I was wrong. You can let them do as they see fit. Xinyu had people who were responsible for taking care of the shop. He did not need to worry about these things. Before the arrival of summer, the Ministry of Works had developed more uses for the cement and put them into practice one by one. Xinyu knew that it would take some time to really use this material on a large scale. With so many people in the Ministry of Works watching, he and Shang Junlin only needed to wait for the final results. Your Majesty, the weather is getting hotter and hotter. Even Xinyu, who was afraid of the cold, put on a thin shirt. When the weather is really hot, Zhen will take you to the summer palace to stay for a while. Shang Junlin brushed away the hair on Xinyu's face. The capital of Dahuan had 4 distinct seasons. It was cold in winter and hot in summer. During the hottest period of every year, the emperor would take his concubines and officials to the summer palace to avoid the heat. After Shang Junlin ascended the throne, he had been on the battlefield for a long time. Later, he returned to the capital and did not have much interest in the summer palace. Therefore, until now, he had not been there even once. After receiving Shang Junlin's order, both sides got busy early. It was not a small project for the emperor to go to the summer palace to avoid the heat. They had to prepare a long time in advance. After some inquiries, eldest young master, he finally heard news about his younger brother. The moment he heard the news, he was so angry that he trembled. If it were not for the servant who stopped him, he was afraid that he would have directly rushed to Master He and asked for his innocence. He always thought that his younger brother was just staying in a place that they did not know about. He never thought that that place would be a secret prison. A secret prison that did not see the light of day. Oh, how ridiculous. His father obviously knew this result long ago. Why didn't he tell them? He even said that his younger brother would come back directly after he finished what he was told to do. He probably did not intend to save his younger brother from the beginning. Young master, calm down. It's just a guess. It doesn't mean that young master is in that place. You can't panic. If something happens to you, who will care about young master? Eldest young master, he reluctantly pulled back a bit of rationality. You're right. Continue to investigate. I want accurate information. If my younger brother is really in that place and father does not intend to do anything, then don't blame me for saving him myself. He did not want to care about the so-called overall situation. Those who gave the orders did not even show their faces. He did not know why his father was so obedient to them. The news has already been leaked. Shang Junlin turned around. It seems like the He family is planning to make a move as well. I just don't know how the He family will react when they find out that their son has already caused a huge disaster. The He family had been dormant for a long time. Since they were not willing to take the initiative to take action, Shang Junlin did not mind adding fuel to the fire. What about King Yu? Are those people really not going to care about his life or death? King Yu was almost confirmed to be the mastermind behind the fraud, but those people did not take any action. It should not be. It doesn't matter. If they don't show up, King Yu will continue to stay in the dark prison. They will be more anxious than us. They knew that there was a trap ahead. Should they jump in? No, it should be said that they had no choice but to jump in. Eldest young master, he did not let them wait for long. He directly gave them a surprise. Your Majesty, do you mean that eldest young master he directly took the secret order of Master He and the other side to the dark prison? Shen Yu raised his eyebrows in surprise. That's right. How did he order those people to take action? Is the He family dormant in the capital waiting for these people to take action? It should be. Otherwise, what can those people from the He family do? It was not that Shang Junlin looked down on them. It was just that most of the people from the He family were servants and guards. In order to cover up, they did not bring many people. The He family and the forces behind them probably did not expect that all their plans would be ruined by eldest young master, He's desire to save his younger brother. Shang Junlin smiled but did not say anything. Eldest young master, he would never know that the information that he thought he had painstakingly gathered was actually leaked to him on purpose. But I also did not expect that he could really bring all those people out. While they were talking, the leader of the Imperial Guards reported, Your Majesty, all the people have been arrested. Shang Junlin held Shen Yu's hand. Ayu, do you want to go with me to take a look? Shen Yu shook his hand that was held by Shang Junlin. Your Majesty, it seems that you did not give me a chance to choose. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.